believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time. I'm a person who will spike the conversation, who will get politics rolling and stimulate new questions and new answers to our current political dilemma facing our nation. I believe I have a keen understanding of the economy and how to improve where we're at relative to other nations around the world. I believe that our goal at America's Third Party was to create a very strong platform in which would propel the American people forward with new opportunities and a new possibility of creating a better nation, a cleaner environment, and less war. I believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to America's Third Party. I'm David Sponheim, and today is Wasteful Wednesday. We are dealing with waste, tremendous amount of waste. Our country is now looking at a second stimulus at $3 trillion, and we haven't even spent out the first one. Our government's been wasting money left and right, and it's been going on, well, since FDR borrowed money to make this country function. Since the New Deal came around. And of course, the Democrats are talking about the Green New Deal, which is, on estimate, a $60 trillion expense. How could we ever afford that? Now, I've handpicked certain things of the New Deal that I liked, like the Conservation Corps, the Civilian Conservation Corps. I like that idea. I can see rebuilding that and having young people get great jobs at $15 an hour working in our state and national parks. We could also implement a plan to build tiny home villages in our state or national parks. Think of the concept. How many people want to get their life together and don't have a lot of money for a big house? Well, this is a great way to get a job. A lot of these young people that are on the street right now protesting and claiming that, Black Lives Matter is the only thing in America that matters. Actually, what really does matter is a certain layer of training for cops to stop this terrible brutality that's been going on. But a lot of young people need a place, and right now they're dispossessed, they're running around, their parents are worried about them, they're literally living on the street in areas like Seattle. And unfortunately, Seattle has become like a really dangerous area. I won't even drive into it. The mayor, they're saying they want to get rid of her. They want her out. There's been a big calling for her to be ousted. She doesn't understand how to actually create order in the city of Seattle. Now, the government is also not getting any good leadership from Donald Trump.
Videos of the officer have just...
We're seeing no top-down leadership. He's not telling any governors, even Democratic governors, to respect the constitutional rights of the people. He's also not telling the people, the revolutionaries, whatever they call, these small hand group of people, who are violent, he's not telling them that they're going to go to jail forever if they keep this up. Yeah, well, at least as long as the law will permit. He's not doing anything. It's almost like Donald Trump is tacitly endorsing all these riots across the country, and many of these governors are willing to, sit back and watch the cities devolve into virtual nightmares for a lot of people. So the new normal is now looting in every city that they want to, fund. Donald Trump isn't calling George Soros out and saying that George Soros is behind Antifa, even though we know he is. Okay. Antifa thugs tried to hijack a veterans parade in the U.S. and got a severe whooping. Okay, let me adjust for volume. So Antifa gets funding from George Soros. We've known that for years, yet Donald Trump won't even mention it. I won't. Thank you for sharing the stream. Nasty man, he don't deserve a good woman. Who are you talking about? Antifa is a mindset, not an organization. Okay. Okay. I would agree. I would consider every Democrat to be an Antifa-crat now because they aren't standing up against it. So you're right. The mindset of allowing Antifa to exist and yet endorsing Joe Biden is absurd. Joe Biden is the most corporatist of people in the entire Democratic Party. Joe Biden wants to make marijuana illegal again. Joe Biden has already put a lot of blacks in prison because he made laws with other congressmen that made it impossible to survive in the hood and sell crack. A lot of people are upset that their lives are destroyed because of Joe Biden. So how is he, the raging liberal, to help the left? I'm actually more liberal in some ways than Joe Biden. I'm more than willing to start a plan called sensitivity training, police sensitivity training, which will be implemented under the guidance of the Constitution, bearing in mind your First Amendment right to speak and your right to assemble. It'll honor your rights to assemble and your right to speak. It'll also give you a chance to defend yourself in public, so you won't be, automatically charged with something without due process. You at least have the right to face your accuser and to ask them, what is the charge? There's so many things we need to start readjusting. The shoot to kill policy, I was telling people earlier in the show, it's disastrous. It's killed 1,000 people, half of which were unarmed every year in America for many, many years. 1,000 people a year die because of cops. A quarter of them are disabled. I'm actually using my, I still have some here. See that? My black tea mix with witch hazel and lemon. It's all natural antiseptic I make for myself. I can defeat the Illuminati for you, but you need to give me the power to do it. Right now, I'm virtually living on borrowed time. I've had 3,000 death threats against me, and nobody's taken a pop shot at me, a pock shot at me. But truly, I have to live in my secure compound with my defenses in order to live. So I'm really on a fringe where no other person in my entire sphere. I've never met anyone with 3,000 death threats. You think this is a joke? So I'm literally holding myself together and keeping this message alive to challenge the Illuminati and stop them. But you got to give me the power. If I can't lead this country, I'll be of no value to you. I heard COVID was growing in Arizona. I don't believe it. First of all, the testing, 80% inaccurate. I wouldn't worry too much, but do follow social distancing practices. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Well, most of the cops that are, ex-military don't see a human being. They see a future victim when they see you. They don't see the human side of you. There's a guy who's been promoting our police training who teaches a course called Killology, where they literally want to kill people when they see them. That's got to stop. Well, the fact that the liberal states like Washington and Oregon and California and obviously New York, these are all very, very weak states. And Trump never even told these governors how to act and how to honor your Constitution. I would have arrested the governor of Vermont, the governor of Michigan. We would have had her under arrest by now. Every governor would have known that if you deny people the right to travel or assemble freely and come up with illegal laws against them, charging them tickets for sitting in the park, you would be taken in. I would haul you in for a violation of the U.S. Constitution, and you'd be tried in front of a grand jury. Trump hasn't led. He hasn't done anything. Like I said, he hasn't even deployed the LRAD unit in cities like Minneapolis or Seattle. I would have sent the National Guard into Minneapolis the first day, but Trump let the mayor of Minneapolis, this known Marxist, just kowtow and cry about George Floyd's death. Anyway, I've got a picture to show you that's very disturbing. You're going to see what appears to be George Floyd being carted out of the carted into an EMT vehicle by sheriffs of all things. There were no EMT people on the scene, which makes you think, yes, this really was a staged event. And you're going to see this man have no legs. Look at that. There's no legs at the bottom of this. Isn't that weird? It's like they carried him up and they set him on the gurney. There's no legs there. Now, yeah, it's getting a little confusing. It's like are you getting a little seasick looking at it over and over again? But there's no legs there. And why were sheriffs carrying him out, not EMTs? So all this is very confusing. I also want to know why he was pulled out of a car that he was perfectly safe in, set on the street. After he was apprehended, he was pulled out of the car, set on the street, and then they put a knee on his neck. It looked like they were going for a second shot. It's like they wanted the camera angles to be right. It's like, okay, we're going to take two across the street. Okay, guys, come on over. Do you got the medical dummy to take out? Okay, yeah, we got it. It's a medical dummy. Yeah. So everything points to a lot of fakery going on here. This is Masonic theater at its best. And why did they pull the video of him resisting? Bengalitis saw it in real time. I never got a chance to see it, but yeah. Any effort the man was resisting according to your view of the video, and now they pulled the video, so we don't know why he was resisting initially. Those EMTs have uniforms almost identical to the county sheriff in Minnesota. I don't believe that. No. Sorry. We actually see a sheriff insignia on the side of one of his, and he's got a bulletproof vest on, so you're full of it. Every time I come up with a genuine question or criticism of some mainstream media opinion, I get some idiot come in and say, no, that's just, explained away with a simple, all the EMTs dress like sheriffs in that state. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I was against the LRAD early on, but then I realized the LRAD is safer than the active denial system, which burns your skin. I don't want to use the active denial system in a population, but a sound device that'll disperse a crowd, yeah, I don't mind using it, especially when we have 6 city blocks cordoned off right now and you can't even go in them, and the businesses are all gutted. No. Seattle needs the National Guard right now. We need to get them in. The Seattle mayor is an absolute idiot. She was a replacement for a pedophile. So, I mean, come on. The Democrats are weak. They're not leading properly. Okay, we got a couple of hot videos to play you on the agenda here. Perspectives on the pandemic. It's a 1-hour video coming up tonight. Thank you, Voodoo, for this submission. The Epicenter Nurse. Conversation with Erin Maureen Olszewski. I haven't seen this on May 12th, New York City. Protect against censorship. Please share, download, and re-platform. She's all set to go. Package ready for the show.
In the United States, New York has been described as the epicenter of the outbreak.
Well, the epicenter was actually Seattle, but whatever.
The epicenter.
Obviously, Elmhurst Hospital in Queens is right now the epicenter within the epicenter.
Elmhurst Hospital.
Okay, so this woman's going to talk about what she experienced firsthand, and as you know, Elmhurst was not even propagated with people. There's hardly anybody there. So that's in the lineup tonight. Thank you very much. One woman's perspective. I wonder what she looks like.
I mean, that's quite, that's quite a charge. I mean, what made
The epicenter nurse. Okay, we'll find out. Looks good. Yeah. Boy, that's a bannable offense. I don't know. I guess you got your... I banned the wrong person. Hang on. There you go. Sorry, Final Dream. I didn't mean to ban you there. Mayor Lightfoot she's acting ridiculous. Not only did she tell the president she had two words, one begins with an F, another begins with a U, but one of her cops flipped somebody off in traffic. So what is she doing? Total hypocrisy. She's literally going after the cop. After she told the president of the United States, F you.
Political investigator Dana Kozlov live outside Chicago Police Headquarters. Dana, this is already an internal investigation.
Yeah, Brett and Erica, it's being handled by the Bureau of Internal Affairs because it's not considered the use of excessive force or verbal abuse, which would be handled by another agency, the Civilian Office of Police Accountability. Either way, the mayor wants action quickly. There's no mistaking the gesture. This Chicago police officer made it clear to protesters near Lincoln Park High School Thursday as he was leaving the scene.
And in my view, that person needs to be immediately stripped of their police powers, and they should start the process for firing him.
Oh, come on. What a joke. Coming from a woman who just told the president in a tweet to F you? Mayor Beetlejuice is going to have to be facing some serious reforms from the federal government. We're not going to let her run her operation like a New World Order puppet. No way. We call her Mayor Beetlejuice because of her facial features. Yeah, it's no big deal, but she is kind of one of those weird-looking people. Okay, moving on. A woman accused of spitting on a teen protester is arrested again. We played that for you earlier. We'll play a clip of it. Suffice to say, she's a woman who's an attorney, and she's raring to go. She's going to be suing a lot of people, I'm sure.
A white woman caught on camera spitting on a young black protester. It was taken at a
She had mace on, too. She had a can of mace, so she was ready to defend herself.
Protest in Shorewood Saturday outside Metro Market on Oakland. We blurred the young man's face to respect his privacy.
She's disgusting. Like, why would you do that to a child?
The woman caught spitting on camera is Stephanie Rapkin, an attorney who works in Mequon but lives in Shorewood.
Hey, I'm going to let the courts sort this out because I have a feeling she's going to be suing them for a long time. Yeah, it's not going to be a short lawsuit either, believe me. She's an attorney. Oh, yeah, they almost have certain rights, the rights of endless lawsuits. Okay, that's in the loop. And then this one. California police officer appears to taunt George Floyd protesters is now under investigation. All these liberal governments are investigating cops that didn't do a damn thing. Lawlessness. That's what the governments want, lawlessness.
Exploded on Twitter, and tonight they've had an impact at San Jose City Hall.
Friday in San Jose, 33-year-old San Jose police officer Jared Yuen appears ready for action, swaying with his projectile launcher. His demeanor draws a reaction from the crowd.
This is funny to them. They're having a blast out here. They have smiles on their faces.
He runs away and back and says, Andrea Pritchett is a founding member of Berkeley Cop Watch.
He was escalating an already seemingly tense situation and making it worse, and thus endangering members of the public.
In a second video, a woman asks him, "Why are you on that side?" He answers. Seconds later, he reaches around another officer and fires a projectile. The scuffle is on. Cop Watch points out those projectiles, like the one I picked up at that same protest on Friday, can be dangerous fired that way.
They are a crowd control weapon. They're meant to disperse crowds, et cetera, et cetera. They're not meant to be fired at close range.
Those videos spread across Twitter today, and this evening, San Jose's police chief announced he has removed Officer Yuen from street duty. He's now under an internal affairs investigation.
I'm not happy with his actions. I'm sure if Jared was sitting here, he'd be embarrassed as well. But I will tell you, I know Jared, and he's a good kid who made a mistake, who let his emotions get the better of him.
Wait a second, we don't want kids for police officers, so stop hiring kids, okay? Thanks. Appreciate it. Let's start with that. We're not going to hire kids. Sensitivity training, you'll have to pass a personality exam, and you'll have to be an adult. You won't be a kid. Sensitivity training will also make sure that if you shoot to kill, that's illegal. Shooting to maim is the focus of what sensitivity training will all be about. Okay, here's how it started. The Antifa thugs tried to hijack a veterans parade in the U.S. and got a severe whooping. Let's take a look. You know, it's ironic that some of the common citizens are actually holding back Antifa from breaking down windows and looting people. Here they go. The Antifa crowds are coming at him. Antifa bitches, one guy says.
Attack, a mighty sucker punch came flying in from somewhere.
Yeah, I can't play the song, but yeah. So the Antifa crowds got pushed back by the Veterans Parade. Now look at this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're getting their ass kicked. The Veterans Parade is kicking their ass. There you have it. You know, it's ironic that people who think that they can be lawless, like the Antifa and Black Lives Matter group, are actually going to face lawlessness if they keep it up. And this is wrong. It really is. If only our government had proper training right now, we wouldn't be doing this. That guy fell down just like that 75-year-old man who now is got irreparable brain damage from that fall. Isn't that sad? And Trump had the audacity to claim that he had some sort of a device that blew blood in his ear. Can you imagine? A 75-year-old perennial activist just wanted to approach some cops, and it was knocked down. You saw the picture the other day. He was knocked down on the ground, and he started bleeding from his ear. Jim Carrey has a new picture proving that he is definitely America's worst artist. Here he is in his caricature of Donald Trump holding the Bible. The comedian's work could be attacking the president for what critics say is pretend piety, and perhaps for the blood that may be on his hands because of the violent rhetoric he's used against trying to unify the country during the unrest. Well, I hand it to him. He calls this blasphemer in chief. Yeah, blasphemer. So Jim Carrey's still at it, doing his thing. The paintings continue. Well, you know, you may want to get an artist to teach you how to paint, but I like the fact that they're rough. They're raw. Yeah. That's kind of how Melania feels about Donald, you know.
But my husband is real. He's raw. But my husband is real. He's raw.
Okay, so Jim Carrey can be real and raw if he wants. Carrey the Almighty, right. If only he had my talent. But he doesn't. He never did. I'm perhaps the most talented person on earth, but also undiscovered. He's a dark, scary dude, I agree. Okay. David, can I get your permission to go to one of the protests wearing blackface? You can go to any protest you want, and you can carry signs if you want, absolutely. Direct them to @ThirdParty or Sponheim 2020. Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to inhibit you from doing that. In fact, many of you can go into these rooms that all these people are at and talk about my plan for police sensitivity training. Please, mister, please. Don't shoot me with my pocket knife. I'm only trying to defend myself. I should do an Olivia Newton-John impersonation. Herpes has been around for centuries. Really? And how did you know that? Have you been around for centuries?
I'm sure you've seen this video from last Thursday. It was filmed in...
I remember when you get herpes from having farm sex. You know, I have no idea how people got herpes originally, but it is the icosahedron molecule. The exosome is considered very dangerous. Yes. It's similar to the tobacco mosaic virus in structure, also found on tomatoes and avocados. 2020 hasn't been good. No, this is going to be a revolutionary year, no question about it. But it's not a civil war. That's something that they can't manufacture. They're having a hard time making that happen. But it's a revolutionary year, no question about it. Now, an RFID chip may be tied to the new coronavirus vaccine. I don't even know what that means. Oh, they want to install the radio frequency device in the individual doses of coronavirus. Yeah, we know that. That's the plan that Bill Gates has been talking about for years. And these people who bring this up like it's a new idea, they're the ones being accused of being conspiracy theorists by Bill Gates. Even though Bill Gates talks about it, he now says that anybody talking about it is a conspiracy theorist. So unfortunately, I can't play this, otherwise my YouTube channel will get taken down. Yeah, of course they're trying to install RFID chips in the vaccine. I've been talking about this for a year. Okay. Bubba and NASCAR. Black Lives Matter. It's a new NASCAR thing. This is the black and white model for the NASCAR race. Black Lives Matter has got the car number 43 with the united black and white hand. Compassion, love, understanding. Okay. I can't say anything bad about that. I mean, I've always been an integrationist, as you know, and doing a blackface video frustrated a lot of Democrats. I've never said a racial slur against black people in my life. But doing a blackface video is protected by my free speech, and I thought, well, what a better way to impersonate Barack Obama than do blackface. And then I got called out as a racist, of all things, which is ridiculous. It's simply free speech. I heard after 32 years the TV show Cops has been canceled. Oh, bummer for you. You just like cops beating people up or something? David, would you have a black VP when running for president? I wouldn't rule it out. I certainly wouldn't rule it out. That's entirely possible. An African-American VP. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't have an angry thing that Barack Obama, a black man, became president. That didn't bother me. What bothered me is he was doing the work of the New World Order and laying all the guidelines for the New World Order to continue taking over our country. That's what bothered me. The way he handled the Ebola thing and bringing 14 infected people into our country inspired my Obama Ebola video, which is still a rock solid hit on YouTube. Yeah, so a lot of people are thinking that I didn't like Barack because he's black. No, I actually thought that's great. My biggest concern was that he was a puppet for the New World Order. And we know that he was. We know that Barack Obama was elevated to power because he was close to the network of control the New World Order has. The Rockefellers, Bill Gates. I'm going to show you a picture that you may not have seen, and it's something that many people have not seen. It's pretty weird. It's a picture from 1981 showing Barack Obama with Michelle together. Yeah. And guess who's in the middle?
Hillary Clinton.
Bill Gates. Now, if this isn't all a big, huge staged event, I mean, I don't know what is. I mean, how in the heck would Bill Gates be friendly with Barack Obama and a guy named Michael LaVaughn Robinson, who later became Michelle Obama? How can this even happen unless they were all in it from the start? How did Bill Gates know Barack Obama at the Occidental campus? And of course, Michael LaVaughn Robinson was a running back for the Oregon State University in 1981. So this is how it all started, and we finally outed who the guy in the middle was. It's Bill Gates. I mean, talk about the players involved in our future meeting 30, 40 years in advance and working the details out. This is the Rockefeller hand imprinted on all of this. And let's not forget the Rockefellers killed 100 million people with bad vaccines in 1918. What does Bill Gates promote? And with no health degree whatsoever? Vaccinations. And he's caused a lot of people to have bad reactions. So many, he's got 500,000 children in India paralyzed. That's a war crime, folks. Whatever Barack Obama and Michelle and Michael and Bill were doing back in 81 is at the very core of this New World Order plan. And they laid the groundwork for what's happening now with NDAA 2012, which is an entire plan to eliminate our rights, freedoms, and safeguards against propaganda. You see, NDAA 2012 suppressed the Smith-Mundt Act, which was the only thing we had in our government to prevent the government from lying to us. And that alone was a huge New World Order move by Barack Obama. COVID kidnapping going on. Wow. Okay, I'll look at that in a bit. I wanted to show you the picture of this old man who is literally standing up, wanting to talk to these cops, and he was pushed down. And our president had the audacity to say this guy is a crisis actor.
Buffalo, and we see a 75-year-old man pushed, he falls back and he hits his head on the pavement. He then lies motionless as blood pools on the pavement.
And they just walk by. They just walk by.
And as you can see, officers walk past. Well, the man who fell is Martin.
Now, this man is not some crisis actor. He's been a long-standing protester of egregious actions of torture at Guantanamo, etc. He's not some guy who put a squib in his ear and detonated it with his phone when he got knocked in his head. He's a 75-year-old man that had some sort of an embolism in his brain. It poured blood out of his ear after hitting his head on the pavement. And our president had the audacity to claim this is a crisis actor.
And it may be even worse. We don't know. He could have hit his head on one of that concrete ball.
Oh, it hit the concrete.
It definitely hit the concrete, but it could have done twice because there's these see?
Yeah,
those?
True. So let's take a look at this up close at slow playback.
It's out of the camera range.
It is out of the camera range.
But see the way he's standing, he could easily have fallen back and hit his head on one of those balls.
You're right. It is kind of out of alignment with the balls.
I don't know.
But you might be right.
See how close he
That's
is
true.
to the ball?
That's true. It could have hit the ball.
And see how he's just laying there?
And look at these. They could care less about his health. These cops were absolutely... See, this is what I mean about police sensitivity training. Without this training, they're never going to be good people.
The one guy on the radio, that's the only guy that cared, but the guy that pushed him down didn't give a crap.
Right. No, he's not dead, but he's had irreparable brain damage, according to the doctors. They said that this guy had irreparable brain damage from this. So he might live life kind of like Joe Biden, not knowing where he is. Okay, Joe, you're in front of an audience now. Go ahead and pretend to be presidential candidate Joe Biden. As you know, Joe Biden is going to beat Joe Biden in the upcoming election. All right, here's Sarah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I've got 2 more links to bring in. Universally accepted vaccines under a microscope reveal Lyme rods, parasites. Okay, this is worth looking at. Let's take a quick look at this.
Is that same woman?
Different woman. Here we go.
The wound. This waste is of worse consequence than the garbage collected. My husband and I were able to obtain a vial of tetanus vaccine. In this vial, we made 24 pools and examined the liquid contents under magnification. 21 of the 24 pools, we saw a variety of toxins, including undetermined parasite eggs, skin material, Lyme rod material, algae, and fungus, and encapsulated toxic formations. Only 3 of the 24 vaccine pools had clean bacterial indicators. This explains how one vaccine vial can give different results or symptoms in different people.
Wow, thank you for that. Thanks, Scissor Fight. Well, we'll think about that as we make our qualified decisions about what we're going to do with our bodies. Now remember, all of you have consent. Nobody can force test you and nobody can force vaccinate you. You're protected by the consent laws built into our health code, including Obamacare, and the Nuremberg Code, which was designed to stop anyone from using you as a guinea pig. So don't let any Democrat think you're going to be force tested. Now, they say there's a flare-up in Arizona of the COVID. I don't think it's a legitimate flare-up, but people can make their own assessments.
Said in the Southwest, yeah.
Okay, and we've got another one here. All right, I'll take a look at that. When your camera lets you die. Okay, that's a question about the authenticity of the old man falling. Okay, I'll take a look at it. I'm not ruling it out as a fake or a real, but I think it's ridiculous to make an issue of it for our president. It shows you how low he will go. All right, thank you.
You want this?
Thank you, yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm here. I hope you guys are doing well considering everything. It does feel like the whole world is just like, what's going on? But, you know, we're just hanging in there and, yeah, I know I've been really busy. I'm looking forward to after next week when summer actually starts. In 10 days, summer starts, and then I'll officially be finished with distance learning. I've been really busy with, I've been really busy with cleaning my classroom, and even with paraeducator help, I was still like the last one in my pod, or my group of four pod teachers to finish cleaning my classroom, and I still have a little bit of work to do, but my classroom's clean. I just have some paperwork stuff to do for the end of the year. I did not get a new bathing suit for the summer. I think the previous year's one will work fine. I'm a minimalist, so I don't like to buy things unless I really feel like I need to. And I really don't need something new. If something old will work. That's pretty funny. Understanding taxes in just 20 seconds. That's pretty funny. They have those birds trained to bring them fish. That was a pretty big fish. Thank you, Voodoo. You had an EAS message the other day. A massage or a message. What is EAS? An emergency alert system. What did it say on the emergency alert system? Ours usually says, "This is just a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. If this was a real emergency, this would be followed by..." If you don't remember, then I guess it wasn't much of a good emergency alert system. Ron. I agree about leave patients in the country if they're the other countries where they got sick rather than bring them to America to treat them if they're sick. Something about a participant? Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't seem to make any sense. That is pretty funny, the little coronavirus emoji dancing green. Ah. Sure, America's the best one. No, I don't think you're right, but I'm sure you can convince David of that. Today, when I finally was finished with cleaning my classroom, I had to come home. I did a meet with my students, video conferencing, and after that, I was so tired. I took a nap. I didn't realize that I've been working pretty hard. Georgia's had some primary problems. It raises questions about the November election process. In Georgia, they had people waiting in lines for hours, malfunctioning voting machines, supposedly poorly trained election workers. Wow. They called it a hot flaming mess. Once he saw your face, why, is there something that's wrong with your face, real Dr. Phil? Thanks. I'll show this to the room. Okay. Real Dr. Phil is a little drunk. I don't think it's real Dr. Phil, but and Misanthropy's here. Hello. Ticken's alive. Unfortunately, he says, I'm glad you're alive, Ticken. And Anita's here. 5 demands for the movement against police violence. 1, surrender, empty the precincts, it says. Disarm and defund the police. Justice for George Floyd. 2, stand down, end curfews and road closures. Withdraw the National Guard. 3, free food and supplies. Allow the free redistribution of goods from damaged businesses. 4, amnesty for all. Drop all charges. Cease investigations. 5, free assemblies. The right to protest and grieve however we feel necessary. 5 principles of counterviolence. 1, buddy system. Roll with the crew. 2, target police and corporations. Never attack homes. 3, whatever they throw at us, we throw back at them. 4, no divisions, denunciations, or doxing. Everyone has a role. 5, stay calm, don't run away, take care of each other. Oh yeah. Anita, was today the day you were supposed to go to the hospital? Yeah, good question. Chucklehead Charlie says, free food and supplies. Who do they think paid for this stuff? Oh, man, harsh misanthropy. Yeah, in Richmond, Virginia, they want to remove statues of Civil War heroes, you say, but that's really, they want to remove the statues of the Confederate Civil War heroes, not the Union Civil War heroes, per se. And they want to keep the Arthur Ashe statue because he's a famous tennis player. Do you think that's crazy? Alright, sounds good, Ticket. Drag King, I mean. They lit a Christopher Columbus statue on fire and threw it in the lake. Well, I could see that because some people think Christopher Columbus is like, was mean to the Native Americans or something. Well, Virginia has a lot of really great history. Well, yeah, the Union heroes were just as bad, if not worse, because it was General Sherman who went in, and the way that he won the Civil War was he torched fields of food and torched houses. The Southern people did not do that in the North, and previous generals in the North did not do that. So yes, you could say that they definitely did, that some of them were definitely worse. Sorry. Hey, Anita, welcome back. Did you have to go to the hospital today? That's so crazy. Isn't that elephant juice? I didn't watch the whole video. Yeah, you're right. The city has a lot of history, white and black history. It's today, meaning later on today. Oh, in a few hours. Okay. That's pretty much what I said. All right. Well, best of luck to you going to the hospital. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be okay. Well, you can prove you're the real Dr. Phil by going over on, well, never mind. Yeah, on my iVlog show, I would think. No, I don't have cameras. I was gonna say you could prove it by going on camera, but yes, I do that quite often, Ticken. You found a mask you can wear? They're throwable masks? Yeah, because you can't wear the bandana all day. Okay. Yeah, you do definitely worry a lot. Worrying, there's nothing wrong with worrying is natural, but the problem with worrying is that it doesn't actually solve any problems. Real Dr. Phil, I was just asking you to show your face. But that's all right. Yeah, because nobody wants to see that, the rest of you. A former co-worker says George Floyd and Derek Chauvin bumped heads at the nightclub. So they did not get along. What about selling it to Mexico instead of Canada? If you wanted to talk about Canada, it would be more like Washington State, which borders it. Well, just because he was born there, I guess maybe that's why he has strong feelings for California. Amazon issues a 12-month ban on police use of facial recognition. Amazon will stop police from using its facial recognition technology for a year. They say a housing apocalypse is coming as coronavirus protections across the country expire. I know ours have been extended through, I think, August 1st, as far as evictions go, or the governor, like, they can't evict people through the end, at least the end of July. Okay, well, I'm not opposed to that, Misanthropy. I'm just saying California could go down and Washington and Oregon can go up. It depends on who did the autopsy, real Dr. Phil. I know, exactly. That's why I said I'm not opposed to that. Well, the problem is also, Anita, that it can mess with whatever drugs they give you. So if you're vaping, that is a drug, and that could interfere with the other drugs that they give you for the surgery. Charlie says you shouldn't be vaping at all. And Drag King's interested in having you share what the appointment is all about. And Ticken wonders how you can afford to vape. Wow. The Department of Homeland Security warns that police officers are being doxxed online. Personal information. I hate that. I hate the doxing of personal information. I mean, I know it's out there, but there's no reason to encourage its spread. Misanthropy, you're right. Caffeine is a very addictive drug. You can't have caffeine. Drag King wants you to know about what is the appointment all about.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to leave this right here, and I'm going to give this to...
Did you play that one with
I didn't play anything.
taxes? Okay.
Oh, I know, I did not. I opened it over here, but
Where?
it's like right here.
Okay.
And then, what else? And then there's some, so over here, there's, this is, I haven't played it, but you can refresh its lives from Seattle. And then... close out of that. And this is, I did read this. I can get rid of it if you want.
Okay, I'll read it. Thank you.
And then that's just that. And that is, this was interesting. This is in Virginia. I didn't play this either.
Okay.
But so anyway, those
They're
two.
they're defacing Confederate statues left and right.
Oh, not only defacing, destroying. Demolishing.
Yeah. See, I would have made it illegal to deface any statue in America. And again, this is lack of leadership by Donald Trump. He didn't say anything.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be back.
Okay. Sarah is going to have dinner and enjoy yourself. Make a couple pieces of pizza or whatever you want.
Okay.
And your salad. So Anita has been addicted to vaping and liked the nicotine. And nicotine and kidney and bladder, not a good move. Yeah. In fact, a lot of people with bladder cancer are told to stop smoking cigarettes. Not that you have that. I'm just saying nicotine and bladder and kidneys don't mix. Oh yeah, you're addicted to nicotine. I'm sure you've got the creepy crawlies, but you had your stent removed? Was it successfully removed? Anita? Okay. Yeah, you can give up nicotine if it means living. Yeah. Not yet. Oh, they won't let you. It's today? Okay. Well, we'll be hoping you get through this. Yeah, you don't need any stimulants going into it. And they'll give you a sedative, right? So, a general. Gee, I thought it was going to be today. Here it's another day later. We certainly hope you get better. Okay, so protester was critically injured after toppled Confederate statue landed on his head in Portsmouth. So that means he died. This is serious. This is what mayhem and lack of law and order creates. Unnecessary deaths. A stent is a thing that keeps something open. They have stents for urinary tract issues. They've got stents for heart, blood vessel issues. That's right.
They were pulling on a cord, and they had been working at the legs for some time. They had been trying to get it down, and then there was a gentleman who was directly in front of the statue, and when the statue finally did get weighed, it came and fully hit him in the head, and we could see that his skull was actually showing. He was convulsing on the ground. He lost a great amount of blood, and we were just asking everybody to pray for that man right now. I wasn't able to get.
He's probably dead. Yeah, it's a pretty serious head injury when a statue falls in your head. Talk about, karma coming back to haunt you. Yeah. Well, the person that developed the statue at the Denver airport, the artist that created that, ended up getting pretty much taken out by the statue itself. Yeah, this is the statue of the horse that's still at the Denver airport. It killed the guy who created it. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, big statues have a tendency of killing people. What a ridiculous world where we're tearing down statues that took years to make, all because they're a symbol of whiteness in America. Wow. You can imagine what, after the world is destroyed because of the Black Lives Matter movement, how they'll be taking down statues of black leaders like Martin Luther King. Oh yeah, that would be happening if you guys keep thinking that this is not going to end, or it won't end. If we don't plan on ending it, it won't end. The Republicans and the Democrats are working together to keep this thing rolling. Donald Trump has not deployed any LRAD units to any gathering whatsoever. He's not even using a tool that works great at dispersing crowds. It's like our government wants the unrest to continue so that they can justify martial law. They want it. They want it. They want martial law more than anything our government does. I got U.S. citizens in the room wanting to become refugees because they think they'll have minority status. Amazing. Yeah, remember when Barack Obama brought the Ebola patients in here? He set a very bad precedent for America. Okay, understanding your taxes in 20 seconds. Wow, that's exciting. Okay, let me just pull it up for you. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, the fish gets gets money every time it hauls in its big earned income and drops its big tax load in the basket, and then it gets paid in a small way with a little bit of tax. That's kind of what happened with the stimulus money. You're going to get charged $18,000 over your lifetime so that corporations can make money off this first stimulus. Yeah, the numbers show that the corporations are going to be receiving most of the money from the stimulus number one, and now Pelosi's working on stimulus number two to give corporations even more money. So it's almost unheard of what they're doing. They're getting away with it too. Green television. Okay, this person came up with a really like a flower child mask. What is this person going to say? You never know when you're going to click on a link. It's like a box of chocolates. Guy's sitting in the street. Okay. Look up at the sky. He's still sitting in the street. Okay. I'm not sure if this is newsworthy. Yeah. Okay, we'll pass on this one. 5 demands, 5 principles of counterviolence. The demands are to surrender, stand down, free food and supplies, amnesty for all, and free assembly. The principles of counterviolence: buddy system, roll with a crew, target police and corporate, never attack homes. Whatever they throw at us, we throw back at them. No diversions, denunciations, or doxing. Everyone has a role. Stay calm, don't run away, take care of each other. That's counterviolence. For the movement against police violence. You know, I'm going to go back to this simple concept. Force the police to get sensitivity training and use defunding to do it. And I've been saying that since 2008. Defund the police departments that don't do the police sensitivity training. We use it as a carrot versus the stick. It would be the National Guard comes in and we take over the whole city. It's a very simple plan. It doesn't involve a lot of details except to tell you that sensitivity training will involve no unnecessary force or violence used against people, and everyone will know what they're being pulled over for, and cops will be told not to pull anybody over unless somebody's committing a crime. I mean, real simple stuff. Don't shoot to kill when a person's merely grabbing their pocket knife. I mean, this is like common sense. We should be able to pull this off. Do you want to take over a city with military force? If we have to restore law and order, absolutely. Why wouldn't we? We want to restore law and order, right? You want to be able to walk in your street without getting killed with a brick over your head, right? Are you citizens or are we dealing with revolutionaries here? Like I said, if the carrot is you want the money from the federal government, the stick is, okay, you don't want it, we're bringing the National Guard in. It's that simple. It's a no-brainer. I mean, this is how the operation can be done cleanly and everyone gets what they want. The people that want police to be less brutal get what they want. They want to be sure that nobody beats them up, and we'll use all that evidence against a cop and we'll take that cop's career away, including no severance package and no retirement if they are a multiple offender. We don't want cops beating people up. We also don't want to use life-threatening tools like the stun guns that we're currently using right now. It's ridiculous. Since their inception, they've killed 1,000 people, which is ridiculous. But every year, 1,000 people die in America from cops. Whereas in England, I think less than 100 people have died in the entire history of the country. So we've got a lot of problems with the police. They're just too stupid to know what they're doing, and they need to be retrained. No, the National Guard isn't doing enough. I would have called the National Guard into Minneapolis, and instead Trump puts them around the White House, and now they've taken their bullets away. It shows you what an inept idiot Trump is. I would never have called the National Guard for a policing situation around the White House. It's ridiculous. So he did that. He ruined his chances. Donald Trump has been playing cry the wolf. He's been crying wolf for the past 3 years. Nobody takes him seriously anymore. But no, the idea is to listen to the people who are complaining about police violence and get to that issue. Now, Donald Trump put Jared Kushner in charge of this. I mean, how are you going to put a cuckold in charge of a manly job of retraining cops? No cop in the world is going to listen to some cuckold named Jared Kushner who stands there going, I really think that everyone's going to be better off with a better plan. And what is his plan anyway? I don't even know what it is. They still haven't articulated it. Now, I've been ahead of this story for years. I've been talking about sensitivity training and holding back on federal funding in order to get police to at least do this or not get any money. And if they don't want to get any money, we can just take over their entire policing operation with the National Guard. It's that simple. But the National Guard will all be trained in police sensitivity training as well. Now, do I want to use the National Guard in any city? No, but look at Seattle right now. A 6-block area is cordoned off so that people can run around and rape and beat each other up and loot stores and just rampant crap going on. I mean, this is absurd. It's not illegal to bring the National Guard in if a city can't control their situation. It's not at all. It's within the purview and the power of the presidency. I didn't think Donald Trump was running for re-election after this. He has a campaign commercial, really? Well, the Russians are paying for this? I would never get rid of the police. No. They'd still be on staff until they regained their... I wouldn't take the police and say, oh, you guys are all fired because your governor refused to do what I asked. I would simply say, hey, you're on waivers. It's a non-paid sabbatical until we get sensitivity training underway in your area. This would go very smoothly. Nobody would protest. We wouldn't even have to bring the National Guard in. Oh, you're talking to BLM? BLM has been lurking in our room because I've been posting in their rooms. I go out and post America's Third Party just to tell people what I'm doing. I've been very upfront about the police sensitivity training. They don't have a plan at BLM. They want to make it all about black people, and it's not. Clearly, BLM is about Zionist Jewish people, which is sad that they're co-opting the movement. But this has been going on for some time. We played videos of various people who have been pretty much victims of BLM. One guy was an early reformer who did everything he could, but said, "Hey, it's not what you think anymore. It's not even. They're not even looking out for people who are committing black-on-black violence." And that's been the problem. There have been a few outspoken leaders. This one in particular, his name is Chaziel Soons. And he's been very bold and told the truth.
Some things that I'm not saying right. I'm trying to get people to understand, my people in particular to understand, and everybody to understand that our little minor differences right now, because trust me, I'm pro-black. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm representing. It don't matter right now, though. It don't matter right now, though. It don't matter. You don't fuck with black people when you white. Hey, man, that's your prerogative. That's not what the conversation is right now. That's not what's going on right now. Is so much bigger than the race issue.
Yeah.
And
he goes on to talk about how blacks are exploited. And this BLM movement has been co-opted and exploited by people who are trying to push a New World Order agenda. This woman is another activist in Australia. She's boldly talking about what she's encountering, a very similar situation. It's not an African American or Aboriginal issue.
This is the reality of the circumstances that goes on in remote communities that these protesters care. They do not care. This is the reality of the circumstances that goes on in remote communities that these protesters care zero for. They do not care one bit. They stand there virtue signaling and acting as though, they are so terribly sorry for, the racism that Aboriginal people are faced with. It's not racism that is sexually abusing our kids. And it is not racism that is killing our people. It is the actions of our own people. This is the reality of the circle.
So their own people are killing their own people. This is also true in the U.S. There's a lot of black on black violence in every city, and people on the left are trained to believe, though, that's just fake news. No, it really is happening. Like last week alone, 24 murders occurred in Chicago. All of them were black people. And it wasn't white on black, it was black on black. No, that's not true. And I'm not going to allow you to make up stories here. Well, the fact that people are protesting is okay. It is. I'm glad. But they should be assembling with permits to do that. In Chicago, they've taken over city blocks. They're not permitted. In Seattle, it's the same thing. What I'm saying is protests are okay, but riots are not. Hey, every single riot or every single protest I've seen has been intercepted by Antifa people rioting because they get money by George Soros to create havoc. That's why there were bricks in every city. And I played last night factcheck.org claiming that no, all those bricks were for construction in every city. We looked around, every one of those photographs, no, there wasn't any construction permits up, ever. George Soros and Bill Gates, as chairpeople of the Berkshire Hathaway organization, which owns Acme Brick, ordered those bricks to be put in every one of those areas. You can private message me links if you really want, yeah, if you're up to it. Okay, let's take a look at this. When your cameraman lets you die. Now, this is an argument going the other way, that this old man was setting up a crisis event. I'm going to play it just because, you know, you may want to believe it. I'm not going to rule it out. Apparently, the cameraman is just looking at the guy. He just took a picture of him, and still picture of him bleeding. Yeah. What are we looking at here? Is this a yellow line goes inside the mask? Around the ear? Oh, interesting. A bleeder bag? Wow. Now you're making me wonder if the squib wasn't used now. Yeah, I didn't even notice the yellow line there. I would say it's a double mask. And he's having restricted breathing, yeah. Well, clearly the guy's not wearing any head protection, and he did fall on concrete. Stuntman walks backwards. Okay. So you believe he's a stuntman because he was walking backwards and he delivered his squib? What is that? What's he holding there? Oh, his phone. Well, yeah, he lost consciousness. That's why he dropped his phone. I'm not sure the significance of his bleeding from the brain is though a sign of a hemorrhage in his brain. I'm not sure what this is getting at other than the fact that he's using a squib to release blood here. So your theory is that he's delivering a release of blood through the squib that he's... Yeah, you know, I'm having a hard time with this one. Yeah, I go double mask. I have a yellow... When I go out, I go double mask it. So, I mean, I have the same setup with the yellow line there when I'm out and about. It could be a... Okay, I'll play that more in detail later, but I'm willing to acknowledge that you think that the guy was wearing a squib, bleeding from the ear, yeah. No, that guy is not a guy from Jackass, the movie. He's a regular protester who's been doing this for years. He used to protest the Guantanamo torture that went on there. Hey, but if you want to believe that it is a squib, I'm fine with that. But if the President of the United States tweets that it's a squib without knowing for sure, I'm not okay with that. Okay, later. 1960s flashback? Wow. Oh yeah, you can go into movies and check out things that happened in 1960. Here's an interesting flashback to the year 66, the year of the Watts riots. The president was LBJ and Hubert Humphrey was the VP. Our population was 196 million. Life expectancy was 70 years. Dow Jones, the high was 950. I'll be darned. Cost of a new home was about $23,000. Cost of a new car, you could get a car for a couple thousand back then, no problem. First class stamp, 0.05. A gallon of gas, 32 cents. A dozen eggs, 60 cents. And a gallon of milk, 99 cents. Wow. That's a cool site. Thanks, Super Dave, for sending me that. Okay, some people are egging BLM on, saying, you come to my neck of the woods and you'll see what's going on, BLM. All right, I'll play that too. I don't believe that guy was from Jackass the movie. I find that hard to believe. Ban Super Dave for saying? No, I like that link. They're giving South Park a lot of content for next year. Wow, everything's all about something else. It's not about what's happening now. It's kind of weird. We live in a remote viewing situation of vicarious living. Most of us are watching the world through our tablets. That we don't realize we're engaged in the world around us. So if I were to go to Seattle right now, the Capitol Center, I would be probably killed. Thanks to the lawlessness of the city of Seattle. Random song parody will have to wait. I'll do that later in the show. When Ronald Reagan was President of the United States, there was a sense that we were working toward common goals like destroying the environment, ripping down solar panels, starting wars, and getting the budget under control, even though he spent more than his predecessor. You see, we lived under an Orwellian rule with Ronald Reagan. He was the first New World Order president. I'm not going to do another blackface video because I'm not here to make fun of black people. I actually feel for their situation. I've always been an integrationist. I told you that. That's why it was so hard for me to do a blackface video. Because I really do believe that blacks are being mistreated in our society to this day. But whites are mistreated too, and Asians are mistreated, and so are Hispanics mistreated in our society. I've always been concerned about the rights of people, and I want to stop police brutality. But is this a black issue? No, it isn't. It's not. Why are they painting it a black issue? Because they want to create civil strife and divide us even more. No, the solar panels made in 1975 were incredible. I know a guy who has an entire house still powered up by 1975 Bell Labs solar panels. Seriously. I met this guy back east who, he told me he went out and went to all of the wholesale lots when Bell Labs was closed down and bought all these solar panels from Bell Labs, and they are still running. He said they still make juice. Yeah, he's got his whole house built off of secondhand solar panels from '75. We first developed solar panels. You'd think we'd be leading in this industry, but China is instead. So what did Donald Trump do? He instigated a tariff that's so ridiculous we can't even bring Chinese solar panels in from new producers because it's like it got a 250% tariff on it. We're all getting hosed by solar panel costs, and they should be a lot lower by now. So we're going to keep working on that. You know, the Tesla cars are really a mess because they run out of juice. You get range anxiety. You don't have enough juice to go the 500-mile trip. When you go down the road, normally people don't drive 220 miles when they have to hook up for 8 hours and recharge. If you want to take 27 days to cross the country, it's a great way to do it. Knob Creek machine gun shoot. Now, you want to talk about your Second Amendment rights, right? Because I support your Second Amendment rights. Let's see what a machine gun shoot looks like. Fire in the hole. COVID-19, fire in the hole. Wow, Wow, you must really like to see things blow up. I'll put that on the Pyromaniac channel, and you guys can all hang out there. A Tesla can go 300 miles on a charge, and their own charging stations will charge up to 80% in 20 minutes. Well, that's nice. How are they going to manage to put charging stations every 300 miles across the United States? Is that what he's planning? Okay, well, good luck with that. I don't know, there's something about having the omnipresent gasoline tanks everywhere. It kind of gives me a sense of security when I go traveling. Honey, we're not going to make it to the Tesla charging station. Our computer software seems to have a glitch in it. So we're going to be stuck out here to be gang raped by a bunch of hoodlums and looters? I don't think so. Yeah, I can only imagine what some really rich people are saying right now as they're taking their Tesla on their cross-country tour. Come on. Yeah, right. These are not skits. This is real. This is humor. Everything I do here is not scripted. I'm the most live, entertaining politician on earth. And I'm better than Trump in my ways.
But my husband is real. He's raw. But my husband is real. He's raw.
I'm better than real and raw. I'm real raw. They have electric car charging stations, a lot of car garages. Well, why don't you go stick your head up your ass and go to one of those car garages and spend 5 or 6 hours waiting for your car to get charged while you get raped by a bunch of hoodlums? Yeah. Yeah, you tell your girlfriend, anytime you're out there, you could be gang raped at any time. It's one way to, keep you at home watching Netflix and chilling. Welcome to the Jetsons' World of Tomorrow. The Simpsons electric car. Oh. I can't play Simpsons or they'd monetize me. Matt Groening isn't rich enough. So they have a supercharger map all across the country, all the places you can get supercharged. Well, there you go. You're on the road, you and the hubby and the wife going down the road in your Tesla. Honey, our charge is like really low. I don't know. Let's turn our app on and see if we can get close to one of those charging stations. If worse comes to worse, we can always pull into a motel and plug in the wall. Oh yeah, you'll have a great trip. And good luck traveling to Romania. You won't find many charging stations. There are only 2. You guessed it. I don't know. I just don't trust the whole thing. And the omnipresent nature of charging stations where you have to sit and wait 20 minutes, you say, for an 80% charge. Yeah, that'll get you 80% way down the road. I think Nancy Cartwright's great. I met her playing with her dolls on the floor. I think it's perfectly fine. But I can tell you, when I met her, I did not think that she'd be worth $70 million someday. I thought that she was a very frustrated, almost childlike person. And I felt sorry for her. Nope, you didn't get near my house. Sorry. Yeah. No, I have photographic evidence of everything going on in front of my house at all times. So, nice try. But that is a threat, and you will be charged with a felony for doing that. There you go. Okay, we've got live log 7:32. All right, we just keep track of all the threats, and that will be looked up, and you'll be hunted down, and Men in Black will come to your house and cart you away. Who has a racial slur in their name? I don't see it. David, please consider, yes, I will. Why even allow guests? Because we're trying to let people into the show. These guests are people that pay to get in here. No, you can't even get near my house. That's the point. I will unban Pirate Salty Dog. I didn't think he was banned, but I'll give it a shot. Yeah, sure, whatever you want. Jeff Bezos is in the news. Is he growing another horn on his head, or what's going on? I'm surprised Jeff Bezos hasn't done the injectable horns. They give people a little extra devilish look when they have the horns put in their head. Jeff Bezos says he's happy to lose Amazon customers who don't support Black Lives Matter movement. Wow. Okay. Well, he's happy to lose Amazon customers who don't support the Black. How can anyone support an organization that engages in riots? How can anyone support rioters and looters? So Jeff Bezos wants people to riot and loot, in other words? Okay. Because the Black Lives Matter movement is about rioting and looting. It's not about supporting blacks. Otherwise, they'd make a big issue about it in non-election years. Well, that's your fault. One of these days, you'll get beaten up by a bunch of people, and you'll wonder why you got beaten up, because you're a cop who likes beating up a hell of a lot of people. That's your future. Have you ever heard the old expression, live by the sword, die by the sword? Well, that's your future. Many of you don't realize that your hatred for others will come back to haunt you in the form of a Simpsons commercial. It'll cause you to wear a squib in your ear and gosh forbid, go out and detonate it with your cell phone while lying down and having brain damage. The guy's got brain damage. I mean, the squib might have gone off in his ear. I mean, that alone could cause brain damage. Yeah, if Pirate Salty Dog doesn't show up soon, we have to assume he died of COVID-19 in Arizona. Decatur police punch and arrest a black business owner who called to report a robbery. Unbelievable. This is pure racism right in front of us, folks. This is the kind of thing we need to stop. Victimization of black people. But supporting Black Lives Matter is not going to do it. It's supporting, you support looters when you do that. This poor man is beaten up. He's a business owner. Police punch and arrest a black business owner who called to report a robbery. There he is. Come on in, guys. The robbery's in here. Decatur police come in. They think it's him. Of course, he has his revolver out. He's putting it away comfortably. Checking his camera. It's me, guys. It's my liquor store. I'm giving you a little word of... Well, of course, Mark is paying you to say that. He's got his... Yeah, he's got his... He's taking the bullets out of his cartridges. And he's telling what happened. Then they just punch him and take him down like he's a common criminal. Wow. Why is he so angry to the cops? I don't know. There was no audio on his video camera. But that's pretty sad when this guy reports a crime, looters coming in, and the cops beat him up. Unbelievable. And I'm sorry, these demands are way too complicated. I'm going to pass on the 5 demands and 5 principles and go back to one thing. Police sensitivity training. This is what you support. Hang out with us. We also support a thing called the LGBTN movement. It's not like the LGBTQ movement, which is a lesbian, gay, bi, transgender. This is the let's get back to normal movement. Yeah, you can get back to normal too, even if you are a transgender. You can go back to work, working in whatever transgender job you have. I don't want to take that away from you. The federal debt has now topped $26 trillion. It jumped $2 trillion in 63 days. So this is what you MAGA people call making America great? Really? LGBTQ is still insensitive of you, Dave? Oh, it should be LGBTQIA2 plus. What about P, pedophiles? Aren't they looking for representation too? No, nobody should be required to have a black friend. It's integration should not be forced. My goodness. You know, I reached out to a few black people in my life, and it just didn't work out. You know, we're not long-term friends. I've known a lot of black people. It wasn't like a regular deal. But I don't have a lot of white friends either. So does that mean I'm racist against white people? Okay, this is how Trump supporters think they look. Freedom fighters. Revolutionaries. And this is how they really do look. The Make America Great Klan. And I use the word Klan very selectively. Well, how about the Make America Not So Great look? Because that would be better than what we have today. Yeah, Make America Great has cost our country $2 trillion. Aren't you retarded people or Trump-tarded people still wondering why Trump hasn't prosecuted Hillary Clinton? Well, I purged you because I don't want to hear sexy, weird stuff in the show. Yeah. We're keeping an eye on Digital Mall Rat. Now, a couple of New Jersey correctional officers mocked peaceful protesters and reenacted George Floyd killing. I don't even think this deserves any time on the show. Well, Petoro, I hope you pre-watch this because I don't want to see a mockery of the George Floyd Masonic Theater piece that they did. You know, it's a Masonic theater needs to be looked at as it is, not mocked. Wow, you know, people really stoop. They don't even want to honor all those looters that have destroyed all those houses and those businesses with at least a proper representation. They didn't even put a hammer through a window. If there was really going to be a good satirical mockery, it would have had a hammer through a window, like that police officer from St. Paul that was the first person to trigger these riots. Huh? Why would a person who works as a police officer trigger a riot, Dave? Well, he got money from the Masonic theater people to do it. Number two, the St. Paul police denied it, and they have no proof he was working on the force at the time. Number three, it is him. And number four, they want to start a race war. They want to create civil strife. The police in America right now want to create martial law conditions. That's why this is going down the way it is. Yeah, I'm okay with them doing whatever mockery they want. I don't care at this point. It couldn't be any worse than breaking windows like this police officer did when he bashed in the AutoZone and started the riots in Minneapolis. Not one word from the president about this, nor about the bricks that were placed conveniently by his friend George Soros and the Acme Brick Company. Not one word by the media, except factcheck.org says, oh no, all those bricks were there for construction purposes. No, there were no work orders around the bricks at all. Not one single brick load had any work orders attached to it. Mark is paid to keep people out of here. That's what he does. If you ever wonder why you're getting kicked out of the show and you're a regular viewer, because Mark keeps people out. That's what he gets paid to do that. Tucker Carlson, Fox News show loses Disney and other advertisers over the George Floyd killing and Black Lives Matter position. Well, you know, anybody catering to BLM at this point is catering to a bunch of looters and lawlessness. That's not catering to black people because BLM never talks about black people killing each other in Chicago. Oh well, Tucker Carlson will lose a big donor, Disney and T-Mobile. So Disney would rather talk about what? Sex pictures for children, which have been embedded in most of their films and television? I don't know. I mean, Disney acts like they don't want to talk about anything that's politically incorrect. Why are they putting sexual innuendos in some of our films? That's a little hypocritical, don't you think? Mark is paid to do running the show during our show. You understand, Mark took the money. He made a lot of money doing this. Now, this governor we have, Jay Inslee, is absolutely the most mentally gone person we've ever seen in a power position. He was paid for by Big Pharma. He actually got lots of funds to run for governor in the state of Washington from Big Pharma because he worked for Big Pharma at one point. Okay, you've got proof George Floyd resisted arrest. Okay, I'll take a look. Somebody grab that photograph. Okay, thank you. We'll get to that in a second. Things are coming in so rapidly I could barely digest them.
What's your thought on the fact that the protesters have taken that over and now you come up with freely?
Well, that's news to me, so I'll have to reserve any comment about it. I have not heard anything about that.
It's all over the news, Jay. The 6-block area of Seattle has been cordoned off. It's run by a bunch of looters.
Any credible source.
Credible source? All the news networks?
Not that you're not credible. It's just like, before I espouse an opinion, I should know of which I speak.
What an idiot. He's giggling now.
Yeah, as far as the National Guard, how are you going to keep them there? And if there is a takeover of a street in Seattle where they're barricading, keeping people out, the protesters are, would you love to be involved?
That's a hypothetical. Look, we've got to have safety. I'm sure that people will find a way to have public safety everywhere in the state. I'm confident of that. The National Guard is demobilizing. Over 2/3 of them are demobilized of yesterday. I don't know if they're completely demobilized at this point or not.
Okay, so he's demobilizing the National Guard while 6 city streets in Seattle are running rampant with gangbangers. I mean, this guy is beyond incompetent, Sarah. I've never seen anything like it. Splash Mountain needs to be updated. Apparently Disney fans are saying that Splash Mountain needs to be updated due to racism. Okay. I find that hard to believe, but what's racist about Splash Mountain? Oh, it has a Song of the South. It's a major attraction at Disney World in Florida and in California. Oh, so Song of the South is from a film that people consider racist. Oh, wow. See what I mean? They're trying to strip us of our history in America. Okay, albeit racist history. All I can say is they want to remove the work of Thomas Jefferson because he had a slave. You don't have to laugh at me.
You want me to give you a break?
No. The New World Order is not only probable, it's staring at you down the sight of a weapon called the 5G network. You're claiming that I am some sort of a joke? You don't belong here, dude. And who is opping over there right now? I need ops working at that channel right now, ASAP. I'll turn anybody into an op if I have to. I don't want to read that crap again. A black lady is on the news in Canada claiming racism because she was the manager and had to vacuum and work cashier shifts. All right, we're about ready to drop it. Did you see what he was giggling about the Antifa rally in Seattle, and he's disbanded the National Guard even though he has lawlessness in 6 city blocks in Seattle. This is our governor, Sarah. Watch what he said. I'll repeat it. This is unbelievable.
So what's going on in Seattle is this thing called the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. What's your thought on that? The fact that the protesters have taken that over and not allowing people to come and go freely? And regarding that.
Well, that's news to me, so I'll have to reserve any comment about it. I have not heard anything about that.
Has the mayor not been
Credible source? Not that you're not credible. It's just like.
Now the mayor, now mind you, Seattle has been blocked off 6 blocks, has been completely lawless for a day and a half now, and the mayor hasn't even made a phone call to the governor.
Before I espouse an opinion, I should know of which I speak.
Yeah, as far as the National Guard, how long are you going to keep them there? And if there is a takeover of a street in Seattle where they're barricading, keeping people out, the protesters are, would you want people to be involved?
That's a hypothetical. Look, we've got to have safety. I'm sure that people will find a way to have public safety everywhere in the state. I'm confident of that. The National Guard is demobilizing. Over 2/3 of them are demobilized. Yesterday, I don't know if they're completely demobilized at this point or not, but if not, that'll be shortly, I believe.
We need to be mobilizing them, not demobilizing them. This is how absurd this country has become.
You know why they're demobilizing them?
Yeah, because they found out that there are no COVID risks from people with unknown symptoms.
And if they serve 90 days, they qualify for certain benefits.
Oh, so we have to pay them more.
Retirement, and they qualify for certain retirement benefits. They qualify for certain GI benefits that they don't qualify for on 89 days of service, but 90 days of service they qualify for it.
That's amazing. So he's trying to avoid paying out more money, which he's been the spendiest governor we've ever had. He just drew $20 billion off of our budget. We don't even know where it's spent.
But it's ironic that I would think that the person that needs to be in touch with the mayor or with the governor is the mayor. So
yeah,
that it just goes to show that that mayor is not
right. She didn't even tell him. Unbelievable. Okay, we've got a picture of what appears to be George Floyd resisting arrest. Now, this has been blocked from the major news networks. I'm not going to play it for you right now. I'll play it for you when I get back. In the meantime, Sarah will be here to talk to you. Have fun.
Well, Anita hasn't had her appointment yet, Bengalitis. Maybe I'll mute this and play it myself. I'll go ahead and play that video. Let's see. The reviews. I guess I missed something. Wow, this is interesting. Some people say it's not Floyd. Why don't they put him in a vehicle? How are they going to put him in a vehicle? No, I Love Fries, we haven't seen that. Yeah, I had never seen this video before. I think they arrived later. I'm not sure. There was another cop. Bumby says this is a completely different incident. It could be, because I can't. It could totally be a completely different incident. I'm not sure. This was posted on $900,000 worth of counterfeit money has been seized in Minnesota. In singles? $900,000 in singles has been seized. It was shipped from China. Maybe it's in singles, maybe they redo something. Why would somebody counterfeit singles? But I guess if they're counterfeiting $900,000 worth of singles, but really singles? That's kind of strange in my opinion. Wow, that's amazing. 1966 economy and prices. Whoa. That was a good one. Did you guys see this 1966 flashback? Let me show you this. This is pretty amazing. Oh, I could see that happening, Stormy. I'm sorry. President was Lyndon B. Johnson, the Vice President Herbert Humphrey. Population 196 million people. Life expectancy 70 years. Dow Jones, the high was 950. It hadn't even reached 1,000 yet. Federal spending $134 billion. Debt $328 billion. Wow. That's pretty cool. I think that's it. Nobody checks dollar bills, so why would they counterfeit them? Unless they got them here and then they were going to change it from counterfeit ones to counterfeit another bill. And maybe that's why they counterfeited it. It's like you could spend ones in lots of places. I don't know. Very, very interesting. Connect and Joy said the video I was playing earlier was fake. Well, it's a real video. It just might not be the incident that involved George Floyd. It might be a different person. Hear my cat in the background, you might be able to. All right. So they took out Gone with the Wind and Little Britain. Say a housing apocalypse is coming as coronavirus protections across the country are going to expire. I know the video David played of Inslee. Well, Inslee did, he said that earlier, Inslee put a moratorium on evictions until August 1st. Oh, something you're reading? Thanks, Super Dave. The Song of the South was banned years ago, so it's not on Splash Mountain. David is having his dinner and doing some other things around the house. He'll be back soon. I'm doing well. I've been very busy the last 2 weeks because our district decided to say, one, like it's wrapping up the school year, so it's normal school year wrap up stuff, but then they also said that they wanted to clean and purge the classrooms, which is great. I wanted to do that, and it was even better. They gave me like para-educators to help me because the para-educators aren't working with small groups of kids like they normally would be doing. And so, but it was just a lot of work to do there because, yeah, I did not realize how much stuff I collected or how and I took it to like the nth degree because it was like labeling everything. That's a good question. I Love Fries asked, why are the worst citizens allowed to become cops? One of the things I remember, maybe it was a year ago, more than a year ago, but there was a police department that did not allow people with a high IQ to join the police force. It was like there was somebody who was contesting it because he scored. It was like, okay, you wanted me to take an IQ test as a condition of my employment, but now you're telling me you won't hire me because my IQ is too high? I mean, I could see them not hiring people because it's too low, because they might need to, because the cognitive demands of a certain job, but they weren't hiring people because of their IQs were too high, that they're overqualified. You say overqualified, but then that's like, maybe that's what they need on the police force, is someone who's overqualified. That's a great idea, Bob. Why not use UVC lights to disinfect everything in the evenings and at night? That's a good idea. Maybe the school districts will be looking into that. I know. It was kind of a dumb policy to not hire someone because they had a high IQ. As the protests are raging, more Democrats want Biden to pick a woman of color as his VP. Meaning that they're probably going to try to get Michelle Obama, I would think. Good night, Fishweir. I will tell David that you wish him well. The Kentucky governor wants to ensure health coverage for 100% of black residents. That's true, Bob. They just want people who will do what they're told. Maybe that's the thing with high IQ. They will question authority. Oh. Thank you very much, Newtel. David would like this because he's all about air ionizers. So this air ionizer does not produce ozone. That's good to know. That's a good question, Bob. Will the Kentucky cover people, 100% of people who identify as black? Yeah, David has two ion filters that are really good. One was from oh goodness. I always forget the name of that store. Brookstone, yeah. Well, and get rid of paper. Then you don't have as much dust if you get rid of paper. While black officers open up about their struggles to choose between duty and identity. Well, if you want a less dusty room, then you have to clean your room. I should clean your room or I'll unmod you. Just kidding. That's true. Newtel is right. 80% of dust is you, and 20% of dust, 10% of dust is paper, and 10% of dust is stardust. You have electronics in your room, like your game systems, your TV. Do you have those in a compartmentalized shelf? Oh my goodness. Terry McAuliffe was recorded saying Democrats prefer Biden stay in the basement. According to a right-wing article. Oh, and then there is all the, well, not necessarily smart dust, but there's a dust from the electronics. All right, so you have to get a shelf, and you have to get clear boxes with lids, or, well, it doesn't have to be clear, but a box for lids for all the, for the game systems that you're not using. U.S. economy is officially in recession. I'll read that one. I don't know. I don't know, Miss Anthropy. What do you think? Do you think it should offend people? I don't really know what to take of that picture. It does seem like it's just people that are trying to placate someone. I'll say that much. That you don't know about nothing. You don't know anything about nothing, all you people kneeling down. You heard a black man say it was one of the most offensive things he's seen politicians do. Wow. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, because it's just like, oh, let's wear a tribal scarf and kneel. Like, really? You'd probably be better off, I will tell you, you'd be better off asking a black person, how are you, and can you tell me more about what you go through and what you think the answers to racism are? Do you feel like you're experiencing racism? Or, yeah, or better off not doing anything. I don't know. I don't know about not doing anything, but maybe. Okay, I was looking at all sides and I go through that. The best thing to do is give out hugs, but then we're not allowed to because it's the era of coronavirus, and it's this song. The song of the year should be "Don't Stand So Close to Me." Isn't that the Police song? The U.S. economy is officially in recession. The National Bureau of Economic Research said Monday that the COVID-19 crisis has officially launched the U.S. economy into a recession, thus ending the longest economic expansion on record. Their business cycle dating committee calls recessions based on broad checks on employment and production activity. The committee said that it had determined that economic activity had peaked in February, citing sharp drops in employment and personal consumption following that month. The recession declaration ended the 128-month, 10-year economic expansion that began in June 2009, which eclipsed the 1990s recovery. Sure, in a minute, after I read this. They declared a peak when the National Bureau of Economic Research declares a peak. It essentially marks the beginning of a period of significant decline. Since the first cases of coronavirus took form in the United States, over 42 million Americans have lost their jobs and turned to unemployment benefits. Stay-at-home measures and business closures have halted economic activity on an unprecedented scale. They said official data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics confirmed the labor market peaked in February. On production, GDP figures have yet to be published for the quarter covering the brunt of the pandemic, but they said the monthly readings on real personal consumption measures appears to confirm that the U.S. consumer, a key driver of the economy, also peaked in February. A recession is generally perceived to be 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth in U.S. production measured as real GDP, but they also have other criteria. So I don't even think we've been through 2 quarters, but they have other criteria that can constitute a recession, which is particularly applicable to the COVID-19 crisis given the speed of the economic downturn. The committee looks for a significant decline in economic activity across several economic indicators, which covers not just GDP, but factors like real income and employment, as well as retail and manufacturing sales. They declare a trough when economic activity appears to hit a bottom, which is also reported on a lag. Okay, let me, I'm gonna mute, or I'm gonna pause the recording unless David's coming back right now, as I had a request to play a song, but okay. Actually, you know, it's so hilarious. My brother, my younger brother, when the request is to play the Cops theme song, when my younger brother was first talking, I think that's one of the words, some of the first words he was singing or said, "Bad boys, what you gonna do?" All right, we'll be back. And if I'm not back, nice seeing you, and David will be back. Welcome back. David's with me. As you can see, we were just listening to that Cops theme song, and so that's why I paused the recording. You're welcome to go look and listen to that on your own on YouTube.
They're cutting the Cops series, right?
They are cutting the Cops series.
Wow.
Someone asked, do I feel bad for the good cops having to deal with this? And I was saying that I do. I like law enforcement. I remember when like cops used to come to our school and show us their canine unit and things like that. And however, I believe that everything can always be made better. And I especially believe that police force can be made better. And I really want you to encourage everyone to check out Join Campaign Zero. They've done some really extensive research on what would be effective ways to reform the police department. And there's 10 things that they say would be really effective, and I believe that those are the things that we should look at and implement.
Great. Thank you, Sarah.
Good night, everyone.
Oh, good. Thank you. Not only do I support any reforms necessary from all perspectives, and we want to take everyone's input into this, but I also would like everything to get back to normal. You know, I would like our normal life to return, and I'm not seeing that currently. So what I've simplified the whole concept, and I've been calling for police sensitivity training for years. The concept is very simple. We just defund any city that does not comply with this option. And that was the entire purpose of the defunding concept that I created in 2008. I'm not trying to take away policing activity. I want a carrot and stick operation so that the federal government can kind of teach the local governments how to do this, but the federal government's got to figure out what they're doing too. And the forced COVID testing idea has got to be swapped. We know now that anyone with no symptoms who's asymptomatic doesn't spread the disease, so there's no need for us to be COVID tracing, or even the idea of a vaccine is impossible with a mutating virus. So all of these ideas, we need to start moving forward with greater knowledge. And in doing so, we also have to be aware that there's an element in our government that wants the city governments to break down, namely the Democrats. You notice how giggly Jay Inslee was earlier? I showed you him giggling. He's just loving the fact that there's all kinds of problems in the city of Seattle. He actually thinks he's going to get more federal money from Nancy Pelosi. All the Democratic governors have been told by Pelosi, if things continue to get worse, we're guaranteed to win against Trump. So it's almost like they want to sabotage our cities in America, especially the ones led by socialist Democrats like Jay Inslee and the Michigan Whitmer and others. Gavin Newsom, more socialist. Yeah, and of course, let's not forget Andrew Cuomo. I mean, these Democrats really do want their states to fall apart so that somehow they'll win. That's the mindset. It's crazy. Okay, here's the Seattle takeover video that they're claiming is now the autonomous zone, and they've kicked the police out, and lack of governance has led to lawlessness. Here you have it, right in front of our eyes. Seattle protesters storm City Hall, demand mayor resign after driving police out of the area, declaring autonomous zone. Okay, there you have it. Let me see if I can get down to the audio and just play it. Okay. Yeah? Oh.
Video, but it's one that I think needs to be done. The reason I say that is about 10 or 15 minutes ago, I was checking my Instagram, and I've posted twice now in consecutive days about what's happening in Seattle with the autonomous zone. So for those that don't know, a group of armed communists has seized territory within a United States city, Seattle, and is patrolling, is handing out food, etc. And they are declaring themselves an autonomous zone and free from the United States. So I've posted about this again 2 days in a row, and I was just scrolling through my post 10, 15 minutes ago from today, and looking at the comments, and I would say 25% of the comments are along the lines of, where is this? Or when did this happen? Or how long ago was this? Guys, it's happening right now. Right now, when you're watching this video, there are a group of armed communists that seized American territory, land, equipment, property, and is holding it and is declaring themselves a separate nation from the United States. They're communicating openly online, and no one is stopping them. This is day 3 that I know of.
Exactly. And the mayor and the governor, you just saw the governor giggling. They love it. This is what they consider a revolution. Ganged, violent looters who are paid by George Soros to literally destroy any peace and governance in any city. It's crazy. Okay, we'll take more of this video a little bit later after 10 o'clock. Where's the outrage? We've got another video that I've got to take a look. Yeah, these collectivists, these communists, they want to take away our freedoms, and at the same time, they also want to destroy peace and order. And Trump is standing there going, blah, 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 not doing anything. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he's babbling. Yeah, they really want to destroy the nation we know to be America. And they want to destroy, and this is what George Soros is planning. And our government, our liberal government, seems to be just standing there going, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Then we can get elected. Trump will lose if we destroy America. I'm serious. That's how they think.
I get mad in the market. They do. Oh, boy, there we go. Oh, boy, that's it. Oh, damn. Get down. I just take it. Bro, just listen.
What the hell?
There it is, yeah!
Damn, bro. I have never seen such violence against a white man before by a black cop. That is crazy. Where's the outrage? Yeah, exactly. So you see, we could all be very angry about police brutality together. We could unite and join hands and have an interracial rap session about it. You know, because we've all been victimized by brutality. So what's this black versus white stuff going on? Seriously. Yeah, that was sheer black against white. I've never seen anything so horrible. Oh my God. That guy was strong. And he wasn't doing anything wrong. He wasn't doing anything wrong. What did he do? He was standing there talking. All right, we're going to get more to the autonomous zone now. Well, let's do another one. Hang on. That's crazy. Cops accused him of battering a bartender. Cop accused guilt without asking him to put his hands behind his back to cuff him. Then he tases him. Surprise! Derek Chauvinist and Ben Bailey and Mark Dice. Okay. Oh, forbidden error. Let me do the Tyner URL. There we go. Here we go. Connecting. Well, we are going through a VPN, so it may take a while. Site can't be reached. You know, I had a hard time opening up 153 from a VPN the other night, so I'll leave that one in the hopper for later. Yeah. You're gonna lose your job. You're gonna lose your job. They're taunting the cops. You're gonna lose your job.
On the 12th consecutive night of protests in Seattle, hundreds of people stormed City Hall and demanded the resignation of Mayor Jenny Durkan. The protesters were reportedly allowed access to the building by a Seattle City Council member. Authorities in Seattle have been sharply criticised for their handling of the Black Lives Matter demonstrations. As in many other US cities, some people are now calling for the city police department to be defunded. Protests have been held every day here since video was released showing the killing of George Floyd. But tensions reached boiling point over the weekend. Capitol Hill resembled a battlefield as police deployed tear gas to disperse crowds. just one day after the mayor announced a 30-day ban on its use.
They're pushing us into the flashbang.
On Sunday evening, a man sped his car into demonstrators, shooting one of them in the arm as he came to a stop. He then got out and brandished his gun at those around him before handing himself into police. But now, law enforcement have retreated from Capitol Hill in what they've described as an exercise in trust and de-escalation. Protesters have established a barricaded autonomous zone around the local police precinct, which appears to have been evacuated. Seattle's mayor has so far resisted calls for her to stand down, but the pressure is growing.
All right, that was for those of you who want to see, subscribe on-demand news. Okay, they only have 824,000 subscribers. They need some more to catch up to the Young Turks. Yeah, thank goodness I didn't live in Seattle proper. I have a relative over there, but I don't talk to him for obvious reasons. He's too far to the left. Yeah, it's just it's a mecca for leftist, communist, socialists. And as much as I like the idea of breaking up big corporate structures and drawing income from Jeff Bezos, who hasn't paid taxes in the past 5 or 6 years, Amazon literally doesn't pay any taxes. As much as I want that to reform, I don't want our country to take away your property or your incentive to get a job or to work and improve your life. That part of the capitalist system is actually fully functional. The part that's not functional are the really elite people that are paying off Donald Trump and George Soros and trying to orchestrate mass civil unrest right now. That's the part that's not functional. It's the rich people have gotten too rich and the poor have gotten much poorer. And that's what's breeding a lot of contempt right now in the inner cities of, well, Seattle, Chicago. I think there's been a few flare-ups across the country that we can't really enumerate other than Seattle being the worst. Minneapolis is obviously going to turn into a war zone. And we haven't seen any leadership from these leftist leaders, like the mayor of Minneapolis or the governor of Washington or the mayor of Seattle. All of these people are so far off the left, they're apologists, and they're actually telling the looters who've been breaking stores and robbing from them that we love you. And what government endorses revolution other than a government trying to destroy itself? So I argue that our government is currently in an operation created by George Soros and the New World Order and Bill Gates. It's a multi-tiered psyops, and I've been saying it from the beginning. First, they have us wear masks, and they engage in the activity of demoralization. It's actually right out of the Soviet playbook. Once they demoralize the population, then they can continue to extract your rights and impose unnecessary restrictions like the governor of Washington claiming it's illegal to not consent to something, like a blood test, when in fact it's perfectly within your rights to not consent and you can't be quarantined or penalized for it. It's a violation of the Nuremberg Code. So legal parameters have not been set, and our government has not been led by a president who even understands our Constitution. Ironically, at one point they said, could you read the Constitution? And he told a group of filmmakers, it's like reading a foreign language. You don't know how to read, Donald, if you can't read the Constitution out loud. So you got some serious issues that you've been troubled with all your life, and I feel sorry for you being you're suffering from a disability, but not being able to read and being our president, it's not a good mix. So it's time to step down. I would urge you to resign immediately as president. But before you do, pick me as your vice president, because currently the guy you've got is an even bigger idiot than you are. He doesn't have a personality to boot. We don't even know who Mike Pence is, other than a very good God-fearing Christian who likes to hide his kiddie porn in his AOL emails. You got to wonder if Mike Pence is some freak. He's still holding back on those emails. He hasn't presented them. Hillary was worse. Are you kidding me? So you guys who voted for Donald Trump thinking he was different than Hillary, they're one and the same. They're both being powered up and paid for by the New World Order. And you've been fooled into thinking the two-party system is your choice that you have. So getting back to our core Bill of Rights is the very platform that we're running on. And introducing police sensitivity training, which would prevent a lot of the victims of crime, of racial profiling, if you will. Because obviously, I'm not going to say it's not happening. I know blacks are pulled over more than whites. But I've been pulled over 10 times and harassed by cops too, so I know what it feels like. But I know that there's a serious issue about racial profiling, especially in big cities. So we've got to get to that too. That's got to be part of the police sensitivity training. We never addressed it. And you know, guys like Biden, they created prisons filled with black people. And the ratio of blacks to whites is still greater in prison to this day, even though whites populate, 85% of our population is white. 13% is black, and I guess 85% is a bit of a, I think it's more like 65% now, but the old stats are no longer relevant. But that's not the point. Nobody should be victimized by police brutality ever. And what happened to me 5 years ago with the swatting, that was police brutality. In the most horrific way. They never even apologized for falsely swatting my home. And to make matters worse, they didn't even post a police incident report. I mean, it's like they didn't even want it to happen. But we have proof it happened, and it's pretty sad. So being a victim of police brutality myself, I can tell you I'm not happy with it. We need reforms. I said back then we need new protocols. All that has to be changed. Now, our cities are turned into a veritable bastion of army, potential violation of posse comitatus. Every city is now like a mini SWAT team. That's got to stop too. Police officers should be supportive and very much involved in the family community issues, because more domestic violence calls bring them out to homes than any other call. They need to be more integrated in family support and any type of training that would give them the ability to help in matters of arguments gone awry, other than physically going out and beating people up. Now, if you have a complaint about a family member and you say they're talking too loud, and you tell them, oh yeah, I'm going to call the cops, and you do call the cops on them, that person could then spend 3 months in jail in our state of Washington, and without even any due process for 21 days. They could be claimed to be mentally ill. They wouldn't even see a lawyer within 21 days. They could go on an observation in our state, because we've got an expanded period of time where they review people who are considered 5150s. But that's a socialist state. That should never have happened. They should never be allowed to do that. It's a violation of all kinds. There's a private prison system in the state of Washington that's connected to this socialist system. It's like a national socialist system. It's not even supposed to be built the way it is built. And these greedy Democrats like Inslee and our two senators, Murray and Cantwell, they are completely on the sucking off the trough of the corporate tit, living off Boeing's donations. It's crazy. Man drowns as officers look on without coming to his aid. Family wants him fired. Yeah. Man drowns. Nobody helped.
It was at least Johnny J.J. Baldwin's third plea for help to police as they stood on the bank.
Well, then swim. Your jumped in the river.
But no one helped, although one officer considered.
Now, don't go in there with him. He's going to pull you down.
Not long later, Baldwin went under for the last time.
He's under. He's doing it on purpose, though.
The video leaving members of the small community heartbroken, angry, and shocked.
We always just stood by the river and we watched everybody get drowned every time because it'll pull you down, yeah. Not one of those people thought to get a rope. Unbelievable. Fauci underscores concerns about protests.
Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Wait a second, we're actually listening to Fauci? I don't think so. No, I'm sorry, I can't listen to this guy. He's already mispredicted our entire country's coronavirus, and he ordered corona-positive people to be put in nursing homes around vulnerable patients. The man committed murder. I won't play a link from him, sorry. No, he committed murder against elderly people, and I'm going to be charging him with a crime as president of the United States. And what he's done to our country and ruined our economy, no, I won't play a link from him, sorry. And what he did to Judy Mikovits, oh my God. A housing apocalypse is coming as coronavirus protections across the country expire. Yeah, I mean, where was the stimulus in giving people rent relief? Oh, we forgot about that, and Nancy's working on another stimulus package for that. Oh my gosh, that would have been the first thing we talked about. God, these people are so incompetent. You really can see how incompetent our government is when they don't know what to do but charge us more credit, debt. I saw Nancy's getting into the African linen that's upsetting a lot of African Americans, saying, you don't even understand the history of that, Nancy. Yeah, the Kintia tie, I know. It's very upsetting. I wasn't raised in Africa, despite popular belief that I'm another person named Bwana Abdul Lumumba. People do know me as Abdul Lumumba, in case you didn't know. Okay, now there's a couple of a UCLA professor suspended for not discriminating against students. Wow.
Back to Unloaded. I'm Tom Knight, and thank you so much for joining me. And I want to talk to you today about a gentleman by the name of Gordon Klump. It's probably a name you hadn't heard. There's a lot of names flying around right now.
Okay, well, I'll get to that later. That's UCLA, the Marxist organization dedicated to making money off of Asian and Jewish people. Okay. Most of their new recruits are Asian and Jewish, so that's one of the weirdest things. When I went to UCLA, I couldn't believe how much classism was. I mean, how the classist world existed. I mean, if you didn't have a car, you weren't accepted into certain fraternities. It was the weirdest thing. Venus, could you stop posting so many links? Thank you. I'm going to mute you for a while. Thank you. Battle of the year. Oh yeah, we saw this black on black violence, but this time it was verbal violence. Here we go. Would you like to know about... Yeah, I'll tell you about racism at UCLA in just a second. Hang on.
Okay, Leo, why didn't he fix the violence? Why haven't they fixed our broken school systems? We have failed America's children.
You know, Sean, you asked Dr. Cornel West the type of question you asked in the court of law. He won't answer them because he's just giving you old talking points. I'll speak to you, Dr. Cornel West, black man to black man. There's looting going on, and you try to conflate. No, it's my turn. It's my turn. You try to conflate protesting and police misconduct. And shame on you. And you're absolutely wrong. You won't address the issue. You will refuse to address the issue because I'm talking to you. You're not my brother. You're not my brother. You are hurting black people by acting this position. You are taking the wrong position. That's it. No, my brother. That stuff plays out. That plays out. Address it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please do exercise some personal discretion here. Y'all acting like y'all gonna speak over each other. Could we get one word in edgewise? Now you first. Go ahead. Question. Go ahead.
Do you? Oh my gosh! You have lost control. You're a dinosaur. You're an outright dinosaur. You have lost it, sir. I'm not part of your group. I'm not part of your group. You have lost it. You are a dinosaur. And you know what?
Oh, yeah. You were Neolithic, my brother.
You are wrong.
I'd like to know what the man on the other side of the political spectrum said. Because I can't hear what he's saying, because this man in between the two of us, let's just say the darker of the two of us, that man has indeed outspoken the other man. So in the outspeaking loudness factor, I'd give this man the award. The man closest to me. What do you say? Did he win or did he not win? I'm glad I don't even know what they're talking about, but it's good to hear that. Battle of the Year. Well, when I was going to UCLA, I had professors very similar to the man on the far corner here. And the professor I had was pretty tough. He was an older Jewish man he was tough on a grading, and the subject was social unrest and the existence of alternative political groups in America. So it basically dealt with what we're dealing with right now. The class did. Well, we were talking about the civil rights movement, and we had the lesson all done, and we're going on to take our break where people would step out and have a cigarette or whatever. I didn't smoke, so I was outside by the bushes, and a black man walked up to me and said, he said, "Hey man, what do you know about the civil rights movement?" And he just walked up to me and asked me that. I said, "Well, I know quite a bit. I mean, I'm studying this civil rights movement right now, and I can tell you it's not just about African Americans. It's about everybody, all of our rights." And he said, "Whitey, you don't know nothing about the civil rights movement." And I'm going, whoa, that's a double negative. That I don't know nothing means I do know something about this. So thank you very much. And he reeled back. He's like, "Huh? What?" And it was like, I apparently I sounded too intelligent for him. So he just flat out said, "Do you know what you're going to get on your paper?" And I said, "Well, actually, probably a B- or a B if I'm lucky with this guy. He seems like a tough Jewish professor." Then I sprayed my face with fruit enzyme. And he turned to me and said, "I know what I'm going to get on my paper. An A+. I said, "How do you know that?" And he said, "Because I bought it for $25. It's like, oh, wow, okay. We'll see if that happens. And sure enough, we all sat around and got our grades. I got a B, and I think it was a B- actually. And he got an A+. I never outed him. I never said, "Hey, by the way, he bought the thing," because the Jewish professor would have turned around and said, "Oy vey, all this hatred toward black people. This is pretty classic white hatred. You're very prejudiced." And I'm going, so I didn't say anything. I just accepted my fate and his fate that I wouldn't get a free education because I'm white. And he got a free education, and he paid for his papers with the extra money he had. Yeah. So that's the story of modern education under affirmative action. Now, are we going to give people reparations? Hell no. Are we going to get our country back on track? Yeah, obviously the Democrats and Republicans have let it go to pieces because they want our country to have a lawless nation with cities that are just wild and crazy. And no one's going to feel comfortable with their kids traveling around anymore. Donald Trump, instead of making America great, is systematically destroying our country. And you know it, I know it, we all know it. And the reason why a third party hasn't even been given a second of airtime in the mainstream media is because the one thing that these people are afraid of is people uniting. That scares the living daylights out of them. They want division. The people that run our media, the people that run this political process, they want us to hate each other. That's why they're funding revolutions and riots and people on both sides. And Soros even paid for the KKK members at Charlottesville. So this is all constant. You did miss the college paper story. You'll have to see it in repeat. But oh well. Misanthropy asked me to give it, so I delivered it. The anecdotal story about my college paper. You can always watch the repeat of the show. The statue injury, the injury is serious. It hurt the guy. Did it kill the guy? Does anybody know if he died? The statue hit his head. Oh man, that split his head right open. Oh my God. You see what recklessness does? That's a devastating blow. I don't even think he survived. I don't think it. Although we don't know. Huh. No, I think what's happening is 153 is keeping me from getting any links. So what I'm going to do is going to keep that on the side. Yeah. I don't, I think that 153 is keeping me from, yeah. I don't think they let anybody in with a VPN. That's what's happening over there. And I can't do the show without a VPN, so, oh well. Yeah, the Confederate flag has been banned from NASCAR. Yes, it's a devastating blow to the Southerners who still have pride in their area. And if you're a Southerner, I got your back. We're going to pass a law saying no more defacing of statues in the United States. I'll make an executive order, and then Congress can sort it out. But I do not want any more statues desecrated because, number one, these are flashpoints for aggression. And if NASCAR is going to ban a Confederate flag, that's one thing. But if they're going to take statues down recklessly, that's another thing. Isn't Steve Walsh running a campaign for president as well? Or Joe Walsh? Is it Joe Walsh? Doesn't he have the Confederate flag on his campaign logo? Three links in 3 hours is not much. That was just 3 links at all at the same time, though, Venus de Milo. Thank you. I had just muted you. I wanted to slow down the links. I can only handle 5,000 links tonight. Whew. Trump had the Confederate flag banned, really? I guess he doesn't want to win the Southern votes. Wow. You see, I don't believe in erasing history. That's why I did a blackface video. I don't think we should erase 40 years of modern minstrel music that brought forth the American African music today is what it is today. Without the vaudevillian era, we never would have even had hip hop, rap, any of the amazing artists in the R&B that we've had over the years, all because of vaudevillian and the blackface period of time. So I don't see how anyone could deny us our history, and the Confederate period is part of that history. No, I really reject what's happening. I think it's only leading to more dissension, and again, they're trying to tear our country apart and create another civil war. That's exactly what they would do if they wanted to inspire hatred again. It's not that long ago that people like Mad Dog are still upset at Abraham Lincoln. You know, you got muted because essentially you were hitting me with too many links at the same time. Thank you. Yeah, Trump destroyed America. What the hell's that? Oh, that's like coffee scum. I hate that when it builds up around the edge. And I washed it too. Yeah. I thought it was like a bug in my mouth. Make America fake again. There you go. Well, I just think that a lot of people in the South don't need their buttons pushed right now, but that's exactly what they're doing when NASCAR pulls things like this. This is an attempt by the leftists to continue to divide the country so that they can profit and beat Donald Trump in the next election. So they want to hold our country hostage for the next 4 months, or actually 5 months until the election, and then they want to just continually make it more and more likely that everyone's going to love the Democrats because there's nobody else out there with a better plan. Well, forget that. I'm here. I'm right in the middle of the political spectrum, and we've got a great plan for America. The Democrats could never have the police sensitivity training lined up like I have. We're all set to go with the police sensitivity training. It starts with the personality exam. If you fail the personality exam, you can take it again. And then we'll give you an option to take it again within a month. But the personality exam weeds out the people that are really violent, that are in our police force. And it's a first step toward getting rid of the bad seeds that we have there. Once we get past the personality exam, anybody who stays in the force then goes through 4 days of kind of like a, convention kind of environment where cops go to one location and learn about certain things they have to check off on each class. They have to be in the class and listen to it and check off on it. I don't tell anybody who my sensei is. It's a secret sensei. But my point of the matter is if we give these cops the training that they need to know when to shoot, when to not to shoot, and instigating a new protocol, a shoot to maim policy, we'll be able to stop these senseless murders, or at least begin to stop them. Now, if a guy holds a gun directly at a cop, shoot to kill. But if a guy's reaching for a weapon, and it could be his, penknife, No, shoot to maim and shoot below that area so the person falls in that direction, going with their momentum. So you shoot the leg out from under them. As far as this taser that we just saw, that's got to be phased out. We're going to phase the taser out and bring in just simple cattle prods. No, I've never been tased, but I can imagine it could trigger a heart attack in a man my age. Very easily. Absolutely. I believe that tasing is inhuman, unjust, and proven to actually kill. It's killed 1,000 people in the 20 years that tasers have been used. Now with a stun gun, you can, or with like a cattle prod, you can adjust the levels. We could set certain levels. So you can't have like 100,000 volts. But 2,000 volts is enough to give a person a good what? No, they won't legalize marijuana if Biden is successful, and they won't legalize marijuana if Trump is successful. So do you really have a choice? If you really want to legalize marijuana, you've got to vote for a all legal guy like me. Making toilets great again. Wow.
Making my toilet great again, great again, great again. I'm making my toilet great again. Making my toilet great again, great again, great again. I'm making my toilet.
That's nice. It's a cute little commercial for the Donald Trump Scrub-a-Dub in the toilet tub. A product that you wouldn't want to miss. Now, are we going to turn that into a GIF or what? You better make a GIF out of that. That would be worthwhile. Okay, Ann, what do you got? Or Aggie Sue, what do you got?
A quick one here from, the...
Oh. Elmer Fudd, and he comes out saying, "They took my gun. Are you all awake now?" Yeah, and that you can make into a nice little GIF, transparent background and everything. Well, getting rid of guns is their big plan, the Democrats. They want to win in the next election. They've assured their followers that they're going to win. That's why the governors are bankrupting the states right now. The Democrats literally are trying to destroy our country right now, and Trump is letting them. Why? I don't know. All I know is either Trump's really as incompetent as I think he is, which is probably the case, or he really is part of a two-party conspiracy to let all of our major cities turn into war zones. The new normal will be everywhere you go, in every city, there'll be a war zone going on. It'll really make you want to travel around the country, won't it? You see what they're doing systematically by not letting this third party evolve? They're suppressing the solution. The censorship we've experienced over the past 10, 12 years has been to suppress the solution. The political process would normally produce a guy like me who's got great ideas to solve problems, who's in the middle of the political spectrum. But the system is stifling people like me, preventing people like me from coming forward. Instead, the system is buying bricks and putting them in every city and hiring interlopers to break windows in the AutoZone to start riots. A St. Paul police officer actually started all the riots in Minneapolis. We can prove that. Do a better background check on ex-war veterans and military that bring out gun-ho attitudes to our streets. I agree, Police Lives Matter. That's what the personality test was for. Our cops don't get personality tests. They need to get those. Every other profession, like teaching, give people personality tests. It's the best way to weed out the really almost super volatile. The questions they ask, a person can't trick the system. They can't figure out the right answers guaranteed. There's all these ways in which the personality tests reveal your inner self. And if you're a person who's going to go ballistic on some guy with a baton, it'll produce a red flag, and we will kick you off the force. You'll be getting your severance pay though, if you fail your personality exam. You'll still get your retirement check. It's not like you did any bad things. We just don't want people like you on the force. That's what we're going to implement. And I will defund any police department at any city level that doesn't want to do the police sensitivity training. PST. If they don't want to do this, they won't get any federal dollars. If their cities devolve into a mass hysteria like Seattle, we will bring the National Guard in. Now, our governor right now is disbanding the National Guard because he just doesn't want to pay them. And here's a man who doesn't even know that the 6-block central area of Seattle over the past 2 days has been cordoned off by the protesters. Now, ironically, Fauci is saying that he's worried about the protesters spreading the virus. I mean, come on. Fauci, the guy who shut our economy down for no reason, is still saying something. This man needs to be charged with murder when he put COVID positive people in nursing homes around vulnerable nursing home patients to die. He's responsible. He and Birx and Robert Redstone and Rick Bright are basically responsible for killing 45,000 people over the past 2 months. Murder. That's what happened. Murder. They purposely put coronavirus positive people in nursing homes by order, and that alone, that order is admissible in court as proof that they willfully killed those people. This is a serious war crime. And this will be taken to The Hague along with Bill Gates' attempt to create a vaccine when we know for a fact there's no way you can create a vaccine for this particular virus. It's an RNA mutation virus. It's mutating as we speak. No, I don't take personality tests myself. I walked by a Scientology store one time in Hollywood, and they gave me a personality test. Scientologists do that. You know, that's what they do. And I looked at it, and it was all covered with like smudge marks and saliva prints and all kinds of that. I looked at it, and I said, so don't I need to read? No, I need to read. Could you read it to me? Could you read it for me? And I pretended to be illiterate. And the Scientologist said, you don't know how to read? I said, no, I don't. I'm just, struggling. And then he said, well, so you can't take the test. And I said, does that mean I don't have a personality? And he said, yeah, it does. It means you don't have a personality, sir. So if you can't read, you can't take the personality test. That means you don't have a personality. Yeah, and that's a category on the personality test. You don't have a personality, which is perfectly fine. You just may not have the job of being a cop. All I know is that they do work. I don't really think that they're relevant in every case, but when you got people with life-ending weapons of mass destruction strapped onto their Velcro belt buckle, you got to wonder. If they can burn people with their tasers, I want to make sure they have a nice personality. Now, if they were in a non-invasive situation where they were just people helping people on the freeway as emergency road care, there's a whole line of people that will hire in law enforcement that don't pass the personality test. And they'll be completely without any arms. There'll be people on the road that will be driving around helping people with flat tires. State patrol officers will be downgraded to flat tire emergency care officers. So you can still get a job in law enforcement. I'm not going to completely eliminate your chance of working if you fail the personality test, but I don't want you with deadly objects in front of people, and I don't want you pulling people over on the highway. I'm going to eliminate state patrol officers from ticketing people on the highway. One of the biggest things I found is traveling across country as many times as I have is cops are not stopping people from speeding. Over the past 30 years, I've seen so many people speed and still get pulled over, and it doesn't stop them. So the whole revenue collection thing of highway travel and being pulled over, it's ridiculous. Emergency road care and assistance, and I won't completely leave them without weapons, but they won't be able to use these weapons to hurt people. All right, you calm down. So far, nobody in our chat room has died from the scamdemic. Nobody in our chat room knows anybody who's died from COVID-19. No, I've never been a speeder. I drive at the speed limit, but I've seen a lot of people go by me at 100 miles an hour. And it is unsafe. I agree. But I'm not going to be able to stop that from happening. Now, I did drive at 80 miles an hour on the last trip back east last summer. And I was going 80 in Montana and Wyoming and I believe Idaho. It was the best damn trip I think I've ever had. I think Minnesota's got some 80 mile an hour areas. Yeah. It was really amazing. So if you're allowed to go 80 miles an hour, yeah, people are still going 100 around you. But the idea that we're paying these state patrol officers to ticket everybody when you're not even hurting anyone, there's no harm done. Our police state has become an enlarged, overtaking authority figure, which is causing a lot of stress. I know a lot of people that are really stressed out on the highway when they travel because of these cops. So when I say defunding the police, and I've been the guy who talked about this for 12 years now, I really believe that cutting funding in areas that are wasteful, like tickets, traffic tickets, is the way to go. And we'll increase spending in areas like detectives. We'll give more cops who are testing out on the test to get jobs as detectives. But we will give you an IQ test as well. If you want to be a detective, you take the personality test and the IQ test. But getting more detectives out there will stop crime in its tracks. Right now, we don't have enough people catching criminals. There's so many people out there that get away with it. So redoing our police force is really kind of what I was talking about, but doing it in a way that makes sense. So defunding certain cities is all about the carrot and the stick. It's not about stopping policing. If we don't have police in some cities, we'll have to bring the National Guard in. No, I totally believe that Michelle Obama is a transgender. I also believe that Biden might pick her as a running mate. Well, you know, they could give traffic violations for people who are driving in an aggressive and unsafe way. And for that, we'll have every state will have funding for a specific helicopter that when 3 people make a phone call to the 800 number that there's an unsafe and aggressive driver driving on the highway, and there are 3 credible numbers that are tied to landlines, then we can verify who they are. Then we'll actually send a helicopter out and take that person down, and they will get a reckless driving charge. But I'll upgrade the highway patrol budget to include a helicopter. But for the most part, most people are not aggressive to the point where they're unsafe. I've seen people drive 100 miles an hour at incredibly fast speeds, making incredibly dangerous moves on highways all around me, and they're capable of doing that. Can I stop them? Can the police stop them? No, it's a waste of time, just like the drug war. Yeah, all borders should say, have a sign that says, as you enter the USA, if you cannot read this, please turn around and go back where you came from. I kind of like that. I'm worried about the 5G networks, yes. Gays in the military can exist. I believe that commanders can have the choice of whether they want an all gay or a mixed group of soldiers. Yeah. Or an all straight group of soldiers. I think commanders can make the decision in the field, but we'll always have a place for gays in the military and transgenders. I'm serious. Is it definitive that George Floyd died? No. The evidence of his casket being too short, that's kind of weird. There was an open casket shot that we saw a guy take a picture of the open casket. We've yet to see a single picture of George Floyd online. So for all we know, there was an open casket of some wax dummy there. We don't have a photograph of an open casket of him. No, not Boy George, George Floyd. Did anyone do the gematria on George Floyd, determine if it means 666 or not? Cops do violate their oath on that show. You know, one of the guys on the cop show, one of the stars, was one of the Des Moines cops that killed the cop that killed the man who innocently opened his door when the SWAT team was parked outside his house. Unknowingly, the guy wasn't even the bad guy. He was an innocent guy. He was shot dead through the heart by a guy who was a Top Gun on that show, Cops. I wouldn't doubt you're a cop now. Yeah, people like you get hired in law enforcement because they hire criminals, Super Saver. Yeah, I met a guy one time at traffic school, because I took traffic school to get rid of a ticket once. And he actually said that he was a violent criminal. He'd robbed a couple stores, but that they said that come back and take the test and you can become a sheriff. As long as you weren't, a capital criminal, it wasn't armed robbery, you can become a sheriff. I knew then that they were soliciting people with tattoos and criminals in our police department. Well, I'd be glad to show the video, but I'm not going to be bribed or threatened or coerced into it. I'll show you a little bit of both. A full gambit of, we've got the guy.
Hey, do you ever wonder, like, what is going on? I mean, like, do you ever, like, wake up or do something and you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Where Senator Obama exited the limousine with $250, which was provided to him by me. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine, after which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurnee, Illinois.
Over the years, we've gathered to celebrate Pride Month, and I've told you that I'm so hopeful about what we can accomplish.
One of the things that we love to do when we're working out and warming up or when we're getting ready to box or do things like that is to jump rope. When you're jumping rope, you don't want to come off the floor too high. It's not that much of an impact exercise if you only come up off the floor just enough to see the light. You want to make sure you keep your elbows tucked in. You don't want to use a whole arm swing, just nice and easy turns of the wrist, and this is very good for hand and eye coordination, for timing and things of that nature. One of the things we believe in is variety is the spice. So we're going to make sure we keep a lot of spice in what we do. So we're going to use the medicine ball, and we're going to do several different ab movements to challenge the abs in different planes. So it's real important to add symmetrical strength by using different planes. The in and out squat with the bench. That's an explosive kind of plyometric movement. We're using that movement to add
surrounding HIV testing, which is still plaguing so many of our communities, which you all know, a lot of that is due to homophobia. Barack has led by example. When we took our trip to Africa and visited his home country in Kenya, we took a public HIV test for the very point of showing folks in Kenya that there is nothing to be embarrassed about in getting tested. And we did it as a couple.
And do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so we're looking at this particular picture right here. As the red mark and cursor shows you, there is a seemingly outline of what appears to be a dangling penis. Yeah, so you can see that. Okay, so if Michelle is a dude, which is pretty obvious that that could be the case, what does that leave us if he is picked as the First Lady? And I think it's imperative that she comes out of the closet if he wants to become our vice president. I think that's a requirement. We can't accept anything less.
Here we go again.
Rise off
many times before. You keep me wanna go there over and over, but I know how it goes.
All right, so we're gathered here every night, and what? Hey, I'm not here to make fun of Michelle Obama as a transgender. I think it's perfectly fine if she wants to be a transgender. I don't diss her for being a transgender, and I don't understand why you would. I do believe that Michelle would then be facing fraud charges, and as well as Barack, for lying about being a straight couple with 2 kids. So there would be... We might even be able to get, this thing dropped down to like 10 years in Supermax. But can she be our vice president? No. She and Barack are going to have to pay for their crimes against our country. We're not going to let it go like Donald's doing. Donald gave up the birther issue, even though it was my issue, and he exploited it. He gave it up like it was a lead balloon. Let's talk about, the riots. Multi-level protests going across the country right now.
45 minutes or so to help you find your soul through showing you ours.
And I wouldn't doubt they're going to open up Starbucks venues here soon, and a lot of people are going to be doing, like portable kiosks for McDonald's food, and it'll probably get back to normal. It'll be like the riots corporate style soon. People will do the riots whenever they wanted to go to, South by Southwest or Coachella. They're just saying, no, we're going to do the riots this year. They'll be charging admission to get into the zone they've sequestered for themselves. All right?
Yeah, we stuck out our necks. Earned respect.
I'm afraid that'll be monetized me if I play more of that. I don't think we need to talk more about Michelle being a transgender. I mean, I covered the entire territory, including the guy who claimed he had oral sex with Barack Obama in a limousine outside of Gurnee, Illinois. Larry Seclair. So I covered the gambit. I gave you everything, including Michelle's workout video where you can't really tell the outline of his penis. Yeah, I wanted to show that the dude is built like a man. I mean, we got a lot there in a short period of time. Could I get a little attention here? I mean, you're giving me no attention. I need a little bit more. Okay, members only, I can't type in that room. Could you get me a room where I can type in that's not members only, that gives me a live feed? Because they charge $4.99 to be in that Antifa room, and I don't want to pay that price. You're going down you're going to the glory hole? Okay. I understand that's a new restaurant. It's a chain. Okay. That could be the fast food venue at the riots. Yeah, check it out, man. They got great food at the glory hole. Michelle Obama is a man.
Michael and I.
Does anything scare him?
Well, when Michelle's mad,
Sharona, Michael and I. So Barack Obama is a flagrant homosexual crackhead. Yeah. And many people don't understand that he lied to us along with Michelle for 8 years. And a lot of you Democrats think he did so much for us. He passed Obamacare. Yeah, which is bankrupting our country to this day. Ironically, the only good thing that's come out of the COVID-19 shutdown is that people didn't go to the hospital. Oh, I know. And the guy served 2 terms with this fraud at the same time. I know. Believe me, I've been out there trying to stop it, but without any press coverage, it's kind of hard. But yeah, he wasted an 8-year period of time. We were cheated. But we were cheated with George W. Bush, too. It just goes on and on. Bill Clinton, we were cheated. We've been lied to. We haven't had a real American run for president in decades. Well, Jimmy Carter, you could say, was a real American, but he was a rich landowner in Georgia. Who was governor of Georgia? From Flint, Georgia? And he did join the Trilateral Commission, which is run by the Council on Foreign Relations, the very heart of the New World Order. And I wouldn't doubt to this day that he supports a New World Order, kind of like Mayor Beetlejuice in Chicago, who wants New World Order governance, and told her cop that that's right, a cop on the Chicago Police Force simply flips somebody off in a window and he's losing his job. Mayor Beetlejuice decided that though that's inappropriate, even though she wrote an email or a Twitter to the effect of F you to our president. So it's okay for Beetlejuice to, I keep calling her that, Mayor Lightfoot. Light the loafer, I call her. Yeah, Mayor Beetlejuice is, it's just so sad. She says F you to the president in a tweet, and lo and behold, firing a cop for flipping somebody off. Totally hypocritical. If this is what New World Order governance is, I don't want it. Sorry. Well, let's be clear. Oh, this is a great picture. I showed it earlier. You know who's in the middle? This picture, who's in the middle? It's Bill Gates. Isn't that amazing? How did Bill Gates, Michelle LaVaughn Robinson, and Barack Hussein Obama, his lover, how did they hang out in 1981 without being part of the Rockefeller plan? You can tell right there that Barack Obama was a puppet all the way along. He was solicited as a CIA agent by the Rockefellers. Go ahead and make my day, Lightfoot. All right. She does. She's a one of those little pincushion dolls that you get for voodoo. She came to life. There was a witch doctor in out in Jamaica, man. In the witch doctor, he set up a big mojo, man. And the witch doctor created the lady who looks like the voodoo doll itself, man. It is real, man. It is talking, it is part of the New World Order, man. Seriously, we got a serious issue with this woman. Is she a Haitian voodoo doll? I don't know, but it does look like that. Bottom line is, I'm not here to question her lesbianism. That's between her and her gay lover. I don't really care. I'm here to ask how the hell she ran as president of the police union and won. That's the part that really makes me say, and even Trump is probably saying, what the hell is that? But he hasn't said it. That's what's weird. Trump hasn't said anything about Beetlejuice. I've been scanning his tweets. Nothing. He doesn't mention George Soros either. What's wrong with Trump? How come he doesn't step out and talk about how Fauci is committing murder by ordering COVID-positive people to go to nursing homes? I don't understand. I mean, Trump is asleep at the switch. What do you have, Bob?
Breaking news right now. Take a look at this. Live pictures as hundreds of protesters are inside Seattle City Hall. Images all over Twitter showing the scene this hour, and you can see hundreds, looks like. We got word that Seattle City Council member Shama Sawant had a key and opened the door to let them in as they chanted for the mayor's removal. Sawant has been calling on the mayor to resign following protests that turned violent in parts of Seattle. We have a crew headed to the scene here. We'll bring you a live update just as soon as we can, but you can see the crowds just packed into City Hall in downtown Seattle.
Okay, we'll revisit this video in 30 minutes, and we'll kind of give you another 5 minutes of that video. I mean, we can look at people, sitting around wanting the removal of a mayor, but she's only been mayor for a couple of years, ever since the pedophile had to step down. We had a mayor prior that was being outed all the time by people that he'd had gay sex with when they were minors. Oh yeah, that's the kind of city we have mayors of. So this is the going thing now as the rent starts to come in. People are wondering why they're getting billed for a double billed for rent. They can't come up with their rent payments. Everybody's in arrears. And Nancy Pelosi never even came up with one simple answer, a rent forgiveness plan. And I definitely would have a moratorium on your rent being paid back. In fact, I think the government is responsible for your rent. I really do. With all that money floating out there with Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump trying to make money on it, on the COVID testing, they should pay your landlord for the rent for when you had lost your job, and until you find a new job. Seriously. The COVID panic thing dissipated as soon as we started talking about riots. It's called the diversion technique. And the reason why the Acme Brick Company has not been investigated for dropping bricks everywhere, because they're, number one, they're run by Berkshire Hathaway, run by Soros and Gates. And number two, they're getting cover from the media, which is also run by the big wigs, Soros, Gates, and others. Rupert Murdoch. And yeah, so they're using this technique to divert our attention from the COVID-19, because that was a dismal failure. Now it's super liberal and political correct insanity. It was, either you wear a mask or you go to jail. And either you submit to a COVID test or you go to jail. Now it's either you're liberally politically correct or you go to jail. You see, they're all about control. The Democrats are all about control. The Republicans are all about money. If you understand that, you'll understand the political system that we're in right now. And he's got a very small head. I had no idea. When I analyzed his, I didn't think his head was this small. And when I realized, oh my God, my brain pan is like twice as large as his, I realized, well, no wonder my IQ is much higher than his. Yeah, so I took an outline of his head, and it doesn't look good, folks. I think we may have a person with a tiny head syndrome. Yeah, seriously. They say he may have been born with Down syndrome. I don't know, man. No, I'm not into phrenology. Would you like to believe in phrenology? That's your choice. I don't believe in measuring the bumps on a guy's head to know whether he's smart or not. He's a pinhead, yeah. And the reason why he didn't want anyone to know is he had this big, huge hairdo. He's got this little teeny pinhead. You were in high school and the smartest girl in your class had a tiny head. She's now a medical doctor in California. Yeah, that's unusual. It's not unusual to be a doctor with a tiny head. Da 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 da. Yeah, I believe it. Those are the only numbers you don't know how to add up. Well, you know, I've heard of shrunken skulls before, but I was shocked when Stephen Greer's Alien turned out to be a shrunken baby. Yeah, you know, I don't pay much homage to Stephen Greer, but he put this image out there claiming that he had found this 5 or 6 inch alien being. You probably remember it. DNA actually proved that the alien was human. It turns out that the alien was in fact your grandmother's fetus. No, the alien was in fact a baby fetus that had been dehydrated and pickled. And it was actually in Ripley's Believe It or Not show, 1957. So Stephen Greer pawned this off as an alien being. Can you imagine that? The gall of that man. So apparently, yeah, your head could get very small. Some of you have heads that get smaller as you explore your head. When you get more head, you get smaller. Means you're suffering from erectile mental dysfunction. Could we talk about something else besides head size? I mean, that's ridiculous. I have an abnormally large head, I'll admit that. I have like a size 8 hat when I wear it. I'm covering up my head size with this New America thing. Yeah, I want to have a fun time too. Whoa! But I can't always have a fun time. My life is more like tedious because I have to do the show every day. Why? Because I've self-imposed rigor, it's called. Well, my skull is rather large because I have a larger brain than most people. I use a portion of my brain to do something that most people don't do with their brain, and that's not think. I'm actually using a large portion of my brain to explore alpha wave connections with the universe. I realized I had a lot of dead space in my main CPU. Many of you didn't know there was a connection between the daughter of James Comey and Jeffrey Epstein. She lost the videotape of Jeffrey Epstein's escape path outside of the Metropolitan Correctional Center. She was the one that lost the videotape. Is there a story about this on the internet that I can show you? Nope. Every time one pops up, somebody takes it down. Seriously. The political scoop is that James Comey is a very pivotal later taters. Are you going to go eat dinner now, or is Insane Canadian going to bed now? Okay. Pickled fetus, right? He's a pinhead. Well, Ron, usually stick it out, so maybe somebody's leaving. The political scoop is that James Comey is pivotal in almost every area. I don't know what to say about James Comey. He rigged the election to let Donald Trump win. Not that I liked Hillary Clinton. I didn't. But he was pivotal when he declared that Hillary Clinton was being investigated for criminal charges 11 days before the election. And his answer was he didn't think she was going to lose. Well, when you tell some entire populace that a person's under investigation and you think she's not going to lose, that's pretty insanely stupid. So we have a little bit concerned there about the credibility of James Comey. I believe he's a central deep state player. But he's really not the biggest problem right now we have to deal with. The biggest problem we have to deal with is good old injector fingers. We have a bigger issue with him than we have with anybody else, because Bill Gates is pushing an agenda, and he seems to be a central character in this agenda, to force vaccinate the population come hell or high water. We've got a serious need for an investigation into a brick company that's not being done at a legitimate reason. They claim that all these locations where the brick were construction sites. I'm sorry, but there's no proof that any one of them had a construction going on. In fact, quite the opposite. Bricks were placed in a very key position, and Bill Gates is a signator on the notes. Berkshire Hathaway's, one of the directors would be Bill Gates, the other George Soros, Warren Buffett, and the governor of Illinois. We need to investigate that. All this points to planned insurrection after the COVID-19 scam failed. So but yes, the Comey definitely needs to be investigated. No question about it, and his daughter. And the fact that that story keeps getting scrubbed on the internet is very suspicious. Bill Gates really is a very dark character, and whatever his deal is, we played a video from Scissor Fight last night that really typified what we're dealing with. Oh, thanks. You got some other links for me? Great.
I introduced to the world.
Great. I'll get into those right now. But Bill Gates, we played a video last night of Bill Gates, and it's hilarious. It's just classic. I'll play it for you, a portion of it tonight, now, and a lot more after the show. It says it all. It just kind of lays it all out for everyone to hear. And it's not his voice, it's a parody of him. But that's weird. Yeah, I normally have it here. I thought I made a copy of it. Huh. Here it is. I did make a copy from it was from that drive. Okay, I have it there. Now I know where the copy is. Whenever I make copies, I do it in 3 or 4 different ways. So sometimes I don't know where my videos are. Alrighty, I remember now. This is interesting. I'll play this first.
Based on 2012 numbers, it would take 40 years worth of blacks killed by police to equal the total number of blacks murdered by other blacks in a single year. Less than 400 people a year are killed by cops. 61% of them are white men. 32% are black males. Black men are not killed out of proportion when you consider they're much more likely to interact with police. People are killed by police about as often as they're struck by lightning, but I don't see many protests about storms. Black males are 58% of those killed legally by private citizens in self-defense. And you think, aha, we've got you on something. Except 75% of them were killed by other blacks. FBI statistics on murder lay bare the real threat to black lives in America, and that is other blacks. Black men are about 6.5% of the US population, but they commit 52% of all murders. That has dipped to about 40% in recent years. Black men overwhelmingly murder other black people, and white people overwhelmingly murder other white people. So just like
breaking news right now, take a look at this live pictures.
Issue like that isn't really a gendered issue. Looking at overall violent crime, blacks are 27% more likely to attack whites than vice versa, and 8 times more likely to attack Hispanics. This is the shocking number I hope you take away from my visit. 90% of blacks that die of murder die at the hands of other black people, and that's from the FBI homicide report. 90%. We're not here to talk about why this happens, why 74% of black children are raised without...
Useless eaters. As your unqualified, non-elected global human health overlord, I'd like to take this opportunity to flaunt my position of power and influence over society and share some of my plans for you and your future. When I amassed my fortune in computer software, I demonstrated that I was willing to lie, steal code, cheat my partners, and exercise monopolistic control to destroy my competitors. Now that I've retired, I can rebrand myself as a humanitarian. With my for-profit foundation masquerading as a charity, I can advocate for population reduction and sponsor mass human experiments with unproven vaccines in vulnerable populations. Like my father, powerful banker, eugenicist, and Rockefeller crony himself, it's always been my ambition to decide who lives and, more importantly, how many have to die. Whether it's under the guise of climate change or world health, it's really all about controlling and culling the human herd for fun and profit. In November of last year, I hosted Event 201, a war game simulation of a global pandemic. Leaders from private corporations, global banks, governments, and the media got together to strategize ways they could align in lockstep when responding to a worldwide health crisis. Using a coordinated campaign of fear-mongering, intimidation, social shaming, and economic blackmail, we realized that we could get around dangerous philosophies like individual liberty and national sovereignty.
This is real. I mean, this is raw. This is everything your worst nightmare, right in front of your eyes. I'm serious. This guy, and they did a great job in his voice. Yeah, he really does believe in all this stuff. He says it at various times, but whenever you piece it all together, it comes out just the way this guy's laid it out as. Yeah, good job. We'll play more of that later tonight. But yeah, it's definitely worth looking at. We know that Bill Gates is the big problem. His relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, 6 visits that he made, we need to get that investigated. Now, if the FBI is asking for Prince Andrew's personal testimony regarding Epstein, they sure as hell better ask for Bill Gates. Otherwise, there's favoritism going on right in front of our eyes. Dirty city sewer fishing and Vietnam street food coming up. Yeah, we're going to see that tonight. People living out of the sewer. Then you'll appreciate your takeout food at your local fast food store. Yeah, so the protest is like a street party. Exactly. It's going to become like a bumper shoot, but it'll be more like, shoot, I forgot my bumper. It is privilege, but you can choose your own burial. I personally am getting. I'm going to design a coffin designed specifically for cryogenic storage. So my coffin will be actually running like a refrigerator off of solar panels. Yeah, I'm gonna self cryogenic. What I'm gonna do is buy a freezer at the local Home Depot that'll fit me, and I'll make that my coffin. Then I have to hook up a very durable battery pack and solar panels that'll last at least 2,000 years. And I can't tell anybody where I'm buried, so. But yeah, it's going to be a complicated funeral. I think everybody has the choice of being frozen if they want. It's just too expensive. Rodney Dangerfield left $200,000 in his will so that he could be frozen. You know, the guy that said, okay, take my wife. Okay, take my wife, for example. All I asked was my body to be frozen. And she said, no, all we can afford is a little head. So he actually had his head frozen. His wife ran out of money because they wanted more money by the time his will was read. He didn't have enough money for the freezing of his whole body, so they just chopped his head off and froze his head. But someday, I'll tell you, I get no respect. Someday, we're going to hear from Rodney Dangerfield's head again. You know it. So great links for Scissor Fight. We got a 136-year-old abandoned house coming up, and metal detecting in an old English barn site. An old Ford GT500 tractor gets a carb and a tune-up. USAF spraying over Wyoming. Mike Decker. No, I do a lot better impersonations of Ronald Reagan, actually. 80,000 Americans died from the flu last year. Less people are going to the hospital, so less people are dying. It's great. That was from look at that, 2018. 80,000 people died in 2018 of the flu. And we're worried about 100,000 with COVID-19, which is probably just flu related anyway. Half of which were murdered in their hospital from bad ventilators purchased by Andrew Cuomo or something. I'm making that up, but enough people died because of bad investigations and bad placement of COVID-19 patients. But a lot of people are dying from eldercide caused by the federal government and Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx's orders, and that will have to be prosecuted. We can't let that slide. The COVID stats were meaningless, I agree. 80,000 in 2018 died of the regular flu, I know. You know, at this point, I looked at the footage of the guy. He was wearing a double mask like I do, and he had a yellow mark, so some people think that's a squib going into an earpiece. The fact that the guy has irreparable brain damage does contribute to the idea he really did fall. And he was a 75-year-old activist from way back. It's not likely he was a stuntman. I still contend the guy hurt himself. And for President Trump to use that as an option to call it out as a fake event, he had a lot of other things we could have looked at that were fake events that were much more realistic. Wow, $900,000 worth of counterfeit money was seized in Minnesota. Follow the money, yeah. I wouldn't doubt Antifa was involved. Seriously. And what's really weird is they're all $1 bills. Who in the world counterfeits $1 bills unless you're handing out singles to a bunch of people thinking they're making a lot of money? They're paying these Antifa people with counterfeit money, folks. $900,000 worth of counterfeit money seized in Minnesota. All in singles. It was shipped from China. I don't know, this looks like a communist takeover of the Black Lives Matter group. Yeah, I saw that, Mr. Bill. The guy's face was disfigured and his hand was blown off from an attack on women because he was an incel. Yeah, I don't want to cover that again. That was disgusting. Yeah, in the 1970s, there was a flu virus that dang near went across the world, caused everybody panic. Have in fact. Back in the day. That's very suspicious, those singles coming out of China. Yeah, if Disney loses Tucker Carlson, it's no big deal. This is a story I want to play tonight. It's a guy's different take on the lawlessness in Seattle. I actually think he's great, right on.
This is going on right now. And I was reading an article earlier that the mayor said she didn't know how long this was going to continue for. This is insanity. So some of you guys watching this, I'm sure, are younger than me. I grew up during the Cold War. I remember, all the lessons from it and the way it was and going under desks and all that crap. And the fact that in 2020, again, a group of armed communists forcibly seized U.S. territory and nothing has been done about it?
Exactly. And he talks about Yuri Bezmenov, who actually warned about this process of denormalization and the Soviet-style takeover of our country is going on right now in a state that's very liberal, Washington and the city of Seattle. So the flu virus went around the world in 1970.
At 6 Children's, and also my colleague down in Hamilton has isolated what we call the A2 Hong Kong 68 strain of influenza.
Which is the one that happened last year and is still on the round.
That's right. We had this virus in Toronto in December of 68 and in January of 69.
A lot of viruses have been coming from Hong Kong, ironically, and China. I remember the Hong Kong virus. And when, Trump said that the Chinese flu was out there, that was not designed to be, that's actually what they used to call the flu. It wasn't like he was directing it at China when he called it the Chinese flu. But of course, the overly politically correct Democrats don't want to make anyone upset about anything. We'll stop your freedom of speech completely, but don't say a bad word. David, he wants to get rid of you, white man. Are you talking about threats against white people?
And I got sick to my stomach, and I thought to myself, I felt that I was like, if I was.
Oh yeah, you're having me play Black Lives Matter and George Soros shill in our show. No, I don't do that. I play images of people that were original Black Lives Matter organizers who have now turned a blind eye to this and said, no, it's not going to happen. I wish that Donald Trump would make a big issue about this. This is an image that keeps popping up of a what it looks like a medical dummy. Yeah, they're beginning to say it's like it doesn't have a lower end. And at the very end of this GIF, you can see there's no legs there. There's no legs in that picture. So there's some sort of a medical dummy they put on a stretcher. And we're beginning to wonder. So everyone's analyzing this footage again and again to see if there was a medical dummy. Many people believe this entire George Floyd thing was faked in order to create a race war. Well, the ginger is a common remedy, like ginger ale. The ginger remedy helps with stomach problems. That's a holistic solution, but it's no solution. Yeah, under Ocasio-Cortez, you have the freedom of speech as long as your speech is acceptable to her or them. How absurd. We have a protocol. If you want to overturn our Second Amendment, you're going to have to actually get 75% of the country to agree to it. Well, if you have a problem with overeating, you need to cut back on food. Eating ginger is not going to help you. We've got a lot of videos that I'm going to play now that we're missing footage from earlier. Channel 5 News caught using fake gunshot noises to escalate the riot. Now we know that the government was involved in escalating the riot. We know that they're overlooking who placed the bricks in every city. Government acts like that wasn't done. We now know the government's trying to create civil unrest. They want the new normal to be looting in every city in America. Why do they want that? To implement martial law, like I said, to take away our rights.
He's the one who played. You knew what he was. You did that. And why would you play that shit? He's the one who played. You knew what he was. You did that on purpose. You just destroyed it. You destroyed a peaceful protest. Why did you do that? An innocent man died. He had a family. He had parents. Represent yourself. And this man was part of it.
So these guys, these Channel 5 news guys, were caught using fake gun caps to show gun noise in the background while they were videotaping. That's what we're talking about. Media is in on it too. They're trying to create the war environment, and that's why these people were big players. Tonight we got a relive of a really good video from A Plain Truth. We've got a 24-minute video on confirming proof of lasers used in Paradise Fires and beyond. I want to play this because it shows you the depth of the New World Order and how many powerful tools they've got at their disposal. Not only do we worry about the 5G network being weaponized, but we also realize that they have directed energy weapons too. So I'll be playing that tonight. And this little bit of information, again, I want to repeat, Barack Obama did post on Twitter, and it's been scrubbed from the Obama Foundation, but they did post on Twitter that there was a poster in the picture when a videotape was taken on dating back, showing that May 17th had a post, a Barack Obama Foundation with George Floyd's picture on it a week before George Floyd died. That's a serious thing. I'll be playing that at the top of the hour, which is going to be in 1 minute. So we'll start with that. Yeah, lots of stuff to talk about. If I missed any of your links, I'm sorry, but we're dealing with all kinds of things. Another 7-Eleven fire. You know, first they loot, then they gut. Lack of governance at any level in America is a good reason to bring in the National Guard. What did Donald Trump do? Use the National Guard unnecessarily in DC, and then now they're without bullets. Trump has done all the wrong things. He doesn't even have support from his own directors. His own Secretary of Defense, Esper, went against Trump, and Trump is like, blah, 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 blah. There's a fire at the 7-Eleven here. It's burning like a Christmas tree, and just terrible. At a dry season. Big flare up. You got the Slurpee machine going up right now. You got those canisters of Fix-A-Flat in the front of the store that are burning up. The whole thing is going up in flames. 7-Eleven is going to have to incur the insurance on that. All right, thanks for sharing. That's the microwave inside blowing up at this point, yes. Sure, I play Mr. Right every night on the way out of the show. But as you can see, we've got so many links coming at us now, and part of the goal of the show is to keep things rolling, and I do. I don't think anybody can keep things rolling as much as I do. Okay, this is not a Black Lives Matter issue. This is a brutality issue. I have suggested we use police sensitivity training to solve these problems, and I believe... You think that was a directed energy weapon? Oh, okay. Yeah, we've had people look at that a couple times, and they say that our expert video viewers have said, now you may be right. Our expert video viewers say that's a lens flare. Now, we'll see if it flares up before the fire gets worse. If it does, then you may have a point. You're looking, zooming in. Wait. Yeah, see, that's a lens flare. Whenever there's a burst of light and goes off in a direction, yeah, experts are saying that it's a lens flare. But I see your point. I mean, you have a valid point. I have no question about it. We'll have to look at that as a future reference, as a possible DEW. Thank you. Yeah, I keep things rolling because, as you know, Sarah is the exact opposite. She likes to just kind of relax and mellow out, and I think that's good. But the style of my broadcast has always been nonstop talk, and hey, here I am doing it every day. Okay, I'll look at it again closer, Trump Tardican. Yeah, I'm not ruling it out as not a directed energy weapon, but why burn a 7-Eleven? Yeah. You can see him moving it back and forth and aiming it. Well, there you go. You're going to leave that for a scissor fight to look at closer. Take a look at that up close and personal over there at iVlog. Yeah, you never know. I mean, I'm not willing to dispute it as not a direct energy weapon, but lens flare was the theory. Woman charged with driving into a crowd of protesters in Farrell. Maybe she was a feral child. Okay, I mean, it's endless. The riot's still going on in Seattle, and I guess Minneapolis is now just one gutted, carbonized hellhole. Nice. Here she is driving into a crowd of protesters. She didn't know what to do. She was panicking. Well, wait a second. I don't know. You know, she had her horn on. She had the right of way. She didn't hurt anybody. She drives like that all the time. They're attacking her car. She was in mortal fear for her life. She used her car to escape a situation, and she had her. She should not be arrested. No. Wow. Yeah, so I don't know. I would be very lenient with her, Aggie Sue. I don't think she did anything really bad. Nobody was hurt. You could tell they were trying to bash her car in. She felt like she was in danger. Yeah. All right, so we are signing off. This is Mr. Wright saying goodbye again for many, many times every night, every day. We go back every night. Our videos go till 1 o'clock in the morning if you want to hang out and chat with me. I'm in the chat room the whole time and interact if you want. But this effort is to keep you guys informed, and we've got a lot of videos pile up in the background. Yeah, they still think it's lens flare. Yep. We have a lot of videos that pile up in the background that we can't possibly get to in the show because YouTube monetizes a lot of videos, and they'll stop people from, showing videos eventually. So we have to do that in our after hours. But if you ever want to watch our after show, we do have a full copy of it on Twitter. That's why I get 100 hits a day, even though they tell me I get 1. It's kind of amazing. I'm sure I get more than 100 too. That's probably a fake number. Okay, thank you. I'll be thinking of you on a daily basis. Get back, Puppy Jack. Get back, Jojo. Good night.
Just turn my world around, 'cause you're the peace I find. If Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good to be true. You spin my world around, 'cause you're the peace I finally found. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. You're my Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good